You guys ready? We ready? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our council meeting for the month of September. Ms. Marnie, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Here.
Councilmember Deb Gillis.
Here.
Councilmember Anna Richard.
Here.
Vice Mayor Don Horton.
I'm here.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Diane, would you lead us in the pledge? Thank you. Okay, council, agenda, deletions, emergency requests. Don, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I've got one I'd like to add on to mayor and council discussion if I could. Mayor, it's about to see if I can get a consensus amongst the council to speak for the council at the VOCC meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Deb?
Yes, I've got, I'd like to pull tab 4 out of the consent agenda for a very, very short conversation. And I'd also like to request public comment for tab 1.
Okay. You want to do tab 4 in the mayor communication? Is that okay with you? And
I don't care where we
Okay.
do it, I just want to pull it
Okay.
out of the consent.
Steve?
Nothing from me.
Anna? Nothing for me. Okay. All righty. Let's start with reports, presentations, and announcement. Where's our good friend who I hear dinging in the middle of the night from?
Good evening, council and the public. My name is Aaron Cutler. I'm the project manager for the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority on the Plantation Key Transmission Main project. So I'm here tonight to give you guys an update on the current status of the project. And I can answer any questions too on noise, and we've had a lot of that lately. So
You got to do.
okay, so as I'm going to try this. Am I hitting the wrong button? There we go. Okay, so everybody, by this time, you guys know who we are. I won't run through that. Am I still hitting the wrong? Which way should I point this? That way? Okay. I went too far. That worked. Worked too good. All right, so there's a map, if everybody can see that. But basically what we're doing here, we've divided the project for this transmission pipeline into these color sections. You'll notice on the map there's that teal area that's at the Tavernier Creek crossing. Obviously, that went in back in May. I'm bringing that up to the council's attention again tonight and the public just because you guys will remember from that time period the traffic situation. Just to get that pipe to cross through the Tavernier Channel there, we had to set up traffic control and MOT all the way almost through that orange area and the red area up top. We're going to be approaching soon, which I'm going to talk a little bit about tonight, that area again, but now instead of crossing with the directional drill under the channel, we have to put in the main line, the steel pipe, up to where we already laid that crossing. So currently, if you look at the map, in the pink area, right there in the middle of that is basically where our pipeline crews are. Just to remind everybody from the beginning, this particular transmission main replacement project includes around a little bit over 34,000 linear feet of the new transmission pipeline. As of this week, we have right at 18,380 feet installed. So we're just over halfway done with the project. We're right at 55%. Everybody's, I'm sure, drives through the MOT zone on a daily basis. But that MOT, or the end of our pipe, is basically approaching, it's just north of High Point Road, Old Road Gallery. It's just south, a couple hundred feet south of Old Road Gallery. And so our current projection, which I'll go into a little bit more of this, is the key area for us really is Woods Avenue. That's where the schools are going to be most impacted, and we're working with the Department of Transportation right now to get an approved traffic control plan. We're looking to be there, just really kind of right into that orange area with the main line pipe, late October, like week of October 24th is currently when we're planning to be at that location, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. So I mentioned the pipe footages, where we're working at. And then early October, we have Plantation Key School first, as you know, before we get up to the high school there. And for that, we're already coordinating meetings with the school, with the principal. That one's a little bit less of a challenge just because the school's on the opposite side of when we're laying pipe, and we don't really see many issues with getting the buses and everybody in and out of there. Unlike the other, once we get up to Woods Avenue, it's going to be a little bit more challenging. But we already have meetings actually scheduled next week, or we're putting in place for the Plantation Key School, just so we have early coordination so that when we reach that area, that everybody's prepared. Like I mentioned previously, late October is going to be the plan for Woods Avenue. We've had several meetings with the Department of Transportation. We've actually also, which we've never had to do this, but we've actually redesigned and shifted alignment on a lot of our pipe just to make sure we can facilitate the least amount of traffic impacts as possible. So, you guys can kind of see that the new pipe is really in the northbound lane of the road. And once you get, I'll go back to the map for a second. Once you get into that area in the orange, there's a lot of curves and there's connections we're making. So it's hard, the pipe can't just stay in the one lane. And then we have existing utilities in place. So we've really we've spent months doing this, shift the pipe around. DOT has basically told us, hey, unless you guys can find a plan to get keep one northbound lane open. If you guys remember from the directional drill, we were able to keep one northbound lane and then the two southbound lanes. Without that, they were basically saying that we would have to go back to the drawing board and find another way to do this, or they would shut us down every day and try to figure out how to, and it would just, a lot of this is cost driven. It would cost millions to do it as slow as they wanted us to do it. So we've now came up with a plan that they like. I think we've had our last sequence of several meetings with them this past Friday. And we're at the point, there's some minor corrections, but it's back to our traffic engineer's hands. And we're scheduling on the 15th to already start meeting with the superintendents, law enforcement, and start laying out what our plan is. Now, we've been telling them since May kind of when we're coming and keeping them updated. But just so the public and the council understands, you can kind of plan for that last week of October from Woods Avenue up to, we're thinking if things go as planned, we could be done Thanksgiving that month and be up to Tavernier Bridge where we have to connect. Now, there's going to be connections and a little bit of cleanup after that, but our goal is within that time frame to get all the mainline pipe, which is going to be the most amount of traffic impacts. But it's, October is going to be a tough traffic situation, similar to what you guys had to deal with back in May and April. And then, so we have several meetings with law enforcement and the schools, as I mentioned, and we're going to have a lot of just specific materials. We also are going to get feedback from the schools and seeing how we can help with getting the information out to the public. We're going to have law enforcement at intersections. I think we have allotted at least 3 Monroe County Sheriff's Office where key intersections that need to be part of the problem. I think you guys seen before was the people that go through Old Highway and try to cut back into traffic. A lot of times that causes more of a mess and more backups. So we're going to have some deterrence from that with the police officers on site as well. And
The
There we
booth
go.
there.
the backup, okay. So traffic control plan, it's going to be the same zone, that 3,000 zone. It's about 5,000 feet to get to where Woods Avenue is to where we need to connect on Tavernier. So it's about a mile there to get that installed. Just they're going to restrict some of the left-hand turns through the zone. Now, when we did Islamorada and Windley Key, FDOT would not allow that at all. So we would have these 3,000-foot zones that were just solid, and the only place they allowed, I think, was the Publix that you could cut through. They've been a little bit more lenient here because their people have watched it and seen the traffic situation. We're assuming that they're going to close it all the way, but if there's key entrances for the bus, some of those will be open. I think like Bessie and Royal Ponciana, and we'll lay out the whole plan with everybody, I think, at our next meeting. But some of those key intersections they'll leave open, but they really want to keep people from trying to cross through the zone. You know, northbound traffic wanting to go over to a business on the southbound side is going to have to go up, turn around. So they're really going to enforce that heavily come October. This is kind of just a diagram of that. I'm sure everybody understands. But what we're trying to do is, you know, obviously if you're heading north, you have to get all the way through that construction zone and not cut through, because it's a safety issue for the other drivers, but it also, people wait and it backs everybody up. So if everybody goes all the way through the zone, turns down a side street, sometimes you can turn around on an old highway, you can turn around on another side street. We don't want people doing U-turns in the middle of the road, but this is the diagram that we're sharing, and it's from FDOT, so it's very important. We're continuing to, with our public information team, they're reaching out to businesses a week or two in advance and just already kind of looking at specific situations for access. I mean, there's people that have deliveries at certain times of night. We go as far as meeting with them on site with the contractor just to ensure. Sometimes there's even flaggers provided to make sure the deliveries can get in. We're doing everything that you can imagine to keep businesses impacted the least amount as possible. Now, I know that doesn't avoid impacts. There are times with this being a moving operation, for the most part, we're able to get the pipe in and have everything paved within 2 weeks in front of the business, and that usually includes the MOT as well. So it's going to be a little bit different from March, April, May, where we were just parked and took up the whole entire span. This is going to be like a 2,000 to 3,000 foot moving operation, and once it's through, then you won't see the big traffic impacts anymore, okay? And the one thing with that, we like showing this slide because it just gives a little bit of an illustration on what has to happen. A lot of times people see the big equipment come through and then that's supposed to end, but they still have to pave the road, and then they come back and they have to test everything, get it cleared for service before they connect. So when you see construction equipment come back, especially if you have like a master meter, there's a couple of them across from Founders Park here, those areas have to be connected to the pipe. So this follow-up work after the mainline pipe is installed in those areas. We do have a approved hurricane plan. We're continuing to monitor every storm. So far, we've looked really good this season, but we have a plan to get everything in place and tied down. Keep in mind, we've been working here for, you know, this is like our 3rd year on doing these transmission main projects. So we've had to enact this plan a couple times, but so far, so good. With that, that's all I had tonight. I wanted to open up first to the council if you guys had any questions for me.
Anybody have anything? Deb, Don, Anna, Steve?
Yeah. Aaron, have you begun talks with PKS and Coral Shores yet?
Yes, sir.
Is
So
this next
Yeah.
week?
Thank you. Just confirming.
yeah, we started early discussions, just to give you a better answer on that. We started early discussions back in May when we knew what time frame the contract, because we were first expecting to be there like right when school started, and we were like, oh my goodness, how are we going to do this like right when they're starting school? Fortunately, I think unfortunately for the contractor, they actually worked themselves out of material. They used up every steel pipe, so they went through a period where they couldn't get enough pipe. The steel manufacturers couldn't keep up with them. So we're back in a good track where they've got a backlog of material, and it looks like it's going to happen that second to last week of October is really, we have a clear picture now. So we've been doing more specific meetings with them, and we have meetings scheduled next week for that, the elementary school as well as Coral Shores High School.
I'm just wondering if there's going to be any deviation on the schedule once you get up there in terms of school hours, you know, the drop-off, pickup, that kind of thing.
So what they've shared with us thus far is, because the communication has been so, you know, it's been there, they said they'll do whatever works to kind of keep things moving. They're kind of playing it by ear. I think they shifted a little bit on the bus schedule the last time around. So that's going to be one of the topics that we discuss, but we've been assured by Patrick that he can make adjustments if need be. Now, we don't want to do that unless we have to. We want to roll out our plan and explain how we're keeping the buses, keeping the key intersections, all the school drop-off pickup locations should be intact, and we've came up with this plan to make it so that they don't have to shift anything. So hopefully that's the case. But they're ready if need be.
Anybody else? Anything? Thank you very much. I think you guys are doing a great job.
I really appreciate
I mean,
the support.
Seriously.
And
Really
we'll
good.
be here, I think, next month at the next meeting. I'll give you a little glimpse of the traffic control plan.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I hope I say your name right. Alana Dixon? Elena, darn it. Had a 50-50. Come on up. She's going to talk about Diaper Need Awareness Week, September 15th through the 21st.
Yes, so National Diaper Need Awareness Week is a nationwide awareness program to bring light into the need in our community and nationwide. As many as 1 in 2 families are unable to afford diapers, and that's where the coalition helps. We step in and help provide diapers for families so they can go to work, they can buy food, they can pay their rent because they don't have to worry about diapers. And so that's why we ask for the support of Monroe County and the village to help us bring awareness to this, because we have lots of families in the village that we support.
Does anybody have any questions for her? No? I appreciate what you do. Marnie has the proclamation, if you'd like to give it to her, please. And we thank you very much for what you do in the community.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Carolyn Reitman, Parks and Rec update.
Golly,
What did I do?
you say that and like it's a bad thing.
She wanted to go first.
We get
Oh.
a minute of gratitude for this beautiful park that we get to celebrate with, thanks to our founders who had the vision. If you just look around and we see all the activities and things that are going on, I think we got something to be really proud of. First of all, I want to, our last meeting was the 21st of August. And just in case anybody wonders, it started at 5 o'clock and we finished at 7:45. And we had members of the council and the manager attending. And so there's been a lot of activity doing what can be done with the citizens to support the things that are going on around. So, and I also want to take the opportunity to thank Maria and Alicia and Annie from the staff, because they do such an outstanding job of taking care of things here and also helping us with our committee meetings. We have a couple of things coming up. There's a swim meet tomorrow, and it's kind of nice to know that those things are going on if you feel like stopping by the pool. And we know that kickball and some other activities are starting for our fall. But probably the most notable one right now is the Swim for Alligator Lighthouse. And we look at the middle of our crest, and this is the swim not just to Alligator Lighthouse, but the Swim for Alligator Lighthouse. And this project started, I'm going to say 10 years ago, and I may be off by a little, but it's a project that's designed to celebrate the fact that our local Friends of the Pool group actually created the opportunity for us as locals to own that lighthouse. And so this is a celebration of that. The Swim for the Lighthouse is known to be one of the top, I would say, 10 open water swims anywhere. And if we think about what we get to celebrate swimming to Alligator and back, that's it's known internationally. And as a result, for the swim that's this Saturday, there are currently 325 swimmers, 200 plus kayaks that are coming from 30 states and 5 countries just to be participating. So if anybody wants to come down, they'll be checking in on Friday. And on Saturday, they swim from down at, what's the hotel?
Marquez.
Marquez is where they're swimming from now, yes. And it's a 4 miles to the lighthouse and 4 miles back. So it's a total of an 8-mile swim. Some people are doing it as a relay, where the kayaker trades off with the swimmer. So there are all different kinds of combinations. But if you'd like to just come down and be part of it, you can come down Friday. They're getting ready. Saturday will be the swim that starts early in the morning, and come down and see people come in. And just hopefully the weather, just 2 or 3 years ago, the wind was, the swim out and back was fine for the first few groups, and then the wind came up, and by the time they were finished, there were, I don't know, over 100 people that ended up down at Bud and Mary's because of the wind changing, and those who finished ended up swimming like 9 miles plus because of that. So it's an exciting local event that I think celebrates something that's important for us. So our last meeting, a lot of topic on the baseball field, obviously, but here's what's important about this. I believe that the manager is going to be bringing to the council the updated report at the next council meeting. All of this has to do with the agreements on what's being done. And people get to remember this is not for this year's baseball season. This is beginning next year. So all of these refinements and things are in the future. One of the things that the manager has discovered is that there's an existing building that may be able to be revised and fixed and could significantly decrease the actual cost from the school board. And I'll let you maybe fill in or clean that up, Ron, if necessary. But that's the update on the park itself. Now, one of the big conversations has to do with the turf. And we are postponing any further conversation about that. There was a wonderful about whether it's artificial turf or natural grass. And there are obviously a lot of considerations. One of them certainly will be impacting a local budget from whoever. But the other analogy that I thought was very appropriate was when there are conversations about artificial turf, it's kind of like talking about telephones. Those of us who remember BlackBerries and those of us who have an i16, 17 or whatever, that there's a huge variation in technology. So until there is actually a vendor selected that would be a prospective person or group to do the artificial turf, who would be the ones to answer the actual questions rather than, speculation. That conversation is being postponed right now. And so that takes a little bit of pressure off, but it doesn't mean that that's not an active part of the conversation. So most of the topic of the meeting was a presentation by Miller Legg, just kind of updating what had already been presented. But one of the things that came out of that was a specific reminder and request that there be progress in transferring Public Works from its current location to another location, behind the office or in the hill or wherever, whatever property there might be, because any expansion of recreational facilities is obviously impacted by having the fact that Public Works is back there. So that was an ongoing conversation. And I think that's, the only other thing is I don't believe that it's final, the final report is in, but the pool will be, it will be redone. There are contract things going on, and that probably will be after the first of the year. The pool's 25 years old. It just needs to be redone, and that's going to be a project that's going to be, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, I don't know, whatever. But it's just kind of a heads up for us to know that that will be something that'll be coming up. So is there anything else that I missed? And perhaps those of you that were at the meeting, or Ron, do you want to add anything or clean anything up?
Anybody have anything for Carolyn before we thank you very much for your time and your effort? Appreciate
Thank you.
you. Mr. Dully, would you like to come up? And I didn't skip over you. She asked to go first, so I want to clear that up.
No worries, I was not offended. Ladies first, for sure. Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor. Thank you for doing what you do. My name is Greg Dully, and I'm the chairman of the Land Acquisition Committee. We're here to just give you a brief report. I know you guys got a lot of things to discuss tonight. I gave you a handout. We've been working on a list of about 800 parcels over the last 3 years that we had identified. Last year, we narrowed them down to about 68 parcels that we thought were of value. And then so far this year, we've narrowed it down to those 68 to the top 3 parcels that I think the the council should consider. We were given a budget last year of $1 million, which we did not use, and I'll explain to you that why in a few minutes. And we're hoping that maybe you'll allow us to keep that and move it forward. The 3 properties that we identified, the one is just north of here. It's owned by Marker 87.5 Enterprises LLC. It's a large hammock area. It's located between Pippin Drive and Royal Lane, if you know where that is. We selected it because it's a large property, it's got high quality hammock, and it's ideal for preservation. It's 3.45 acres of property. The county assessment on it is $27,000 right now. The next property that we'd like to acquire is the David Van Sant property. That is the property that's located adjacent to the CVS. If you pull into the CVS parking lot, there's that wooded area to the right. It kind of creates a buffer zone between the residential area, if you look on the map that I provided you guys. The concern there is, potentially CVS could buy it and expand on it. It is medium to high quality hammock, and we think it's a realistic purchase. And so that's our second choice to present to you guys. And then our third choice, we narrowed it down to, is the Samurai Construction LLC. That's a little property. It's in between the Lindholm Roofing Building. And then to the south of that, as the highway goes, the village already owns those 2 other parcels for preservation. So again, it's a realistic purchase. And these are our top 3 that we think we should move forward with. Do you guys have any questions on those 3 parcels or anything that we presented or any of the work that we've done?
Don, I see you pulling your mic.
I just, thank you for the presentation. I had one question on number 2, property number 2. If you're looking at the area, it looks like there's a structure or a disturbed area off of Avocado. Is there an old house there or something?
There is a house there, and that's
There
why,
is.
One of our factors in considering it is, one, to, prohibit CVS from expanding on it and destroying the hammock there, and to keep that buffer zone there, because, yeah, there is residential there in that little corner.
Is it a habitable structure?
Peter, you?
No, there's no structure on that.
It's not there anymore? Okay. So it's just cleared.
Oh, it's the one next door that has a, okay.
Any other questions?
Deb,
Thank you.
You have anything, Deb?
I'd just like to add one thing. So we know you guys are going through the budget things, so we're not sure if we're going to get reallocated that $1 million, which we were hoping to purchase with that. We didn't spend that money last year, just so you know, we weren't sitting on our laurels. Our plan then that the council approved was to put that money towards a lieu and fee program that we had suggested, where, going around and acquiring lots that can be combined and give them a small sum to give up their building rights on that property. The village staff met with the county and to discuss those things. And the less than fee program, for the purchase of development rights from vacant parcels in the village, the steps to implement the program are on hold due to a lack of current staff support. Planning assistance is needed to conduct a review of the official village records to demonstrate property rights for sale. So that project was put on hold until further notice, so that's why that money wasn't spent. Just to mention in passing, after speaking with the county land authority, they are currently looking at the acquisition of 3 properties in Isla Mirada now. So, just wanted to update you on that. Our hope is that you guys would give us the $1 million and roll it over to this year. I don't know if that's going to happen, but at the very least, maybe start the process of finding out if we can acquire these properties, perhaps getting not a evaluation on it, a appraisal, and get the ball rolling. Reach out to the owners of those properties and see if they'd be willing to sell them.
Go ahead, Deb.
So, yeah, there's some money left in that fund that appraisals could be done with, and with the idea that when and if we find out some more money in our discretionary sales tax, it would be eligible to buy property with. So that's the way it looks right now, and the committee wanted to show that they've actually done, so I'm the liaison to that committee. So they have tried to narrow this down to 3 properties, at least something to start with, and keep in our list of things to do.
Anna?
Yeah, property number 1 is listed, there's a for sale sign out in front of it. Do we know how much it's listed for?
I think they're asking $1 million for it.
Okay.
So as you probably know, we can only offer them what the appraisal comes back at. So, but we feel that they may consider it. But again, we would need y'all's consent to move forward with that.
Steve, do you have anything for Craig? I'm right across the street from number 2, so, I mean, that's, I'm right across the street from CVS, my building, so it's really nice to look out my window and see all the hammock
some
and
trees.
everything. Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that's on the list. I'm waiting for the day when I get to see that cleared. I don't want it to happen, so. I
yeah.
appreciate what you guys are doing greatly.
We think that these properties, the 3 of them, the acquisition costs would be realistic, so that's why we've narrowed it down. That was one of the criteria. And we've deemed them as the best to preserve at this point. So
Ron, will you check our piggy bank to see what we got in it? Go ahead.
We did leave enough in there. That was a conscious decision to do appraisals. We didn't leave the whole fund there, but we didn't go to 0 because we did want to have the appraisal process available to us. We're still obviously looking to see what these 3 properties, leave them on the market a little bit and see if they get any offers from the private sector. But we're going to also look at any grant opportunities that we can. We have our Langton Associates, our grant consultant, looking for any land purchase grants that we can also look at.
That'd be great. Anything else for Mr. Dully? No? Great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
And last but not least, Diana Harbaugh for the Nearshore Water.
Hi, Council. I'm Diane Harbaugh, the chairman of the Nearshore Water Committee. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend our meeting on July 29th, but I am here to give you our report. Lieutenant Sprinkle updated the new sheriff's boats in the water and that they were actively prepared for lobster season, and they did a great job during lobster season, and we thank them so much for that. He noted that the Monroe County Sheriffs also post frequently, which if you aren't on social media, they post a lot of social media stuff about people they're finding doing bad things, and they post good things too. So if you're not doing that, look at the MSCO Facebook. It's got an Instagram. It's got a lot of good stuff in it. Deputy Jason Farr attended the meeting via Zoom as well. The committee continues to work towards a holistic management approach for Isla Mirada's nearshore water, and there's more to follow. We're working on it. We were updated on our request with staff to work in conjunction with Lignum Vitae State Park to make Stark's Wheel Ditch a slow-speed minimum wake zone. The map has been drafted. The ordinance will be presented at the next Village Council meeting tonight. Permitting can be submitted once the ordinance has passed. It is expected to take a minimum of 6 months beyond that time to get permitted, implemented, and it might take longer. The committee is in full support of this slow-speed designation. I just want you all to know that. There's one other thing on the agenda tonight about some nearshore stuff that wasn't presented to us, so y'all are on your own on that one. The committee discussed the new National Marine Sanctuary blueprint that is now in place. We intend to ask a member of SAC or NOAA to provide an update on the new regulations at our next meeting, which is in October, or possibly even come before council and do a, informational. Alyssa relayed that recent updates from the SAC meeting and that the restoration blueprint is in effect in federal waters, but the governor vetoed all the affected state water. The sanctuary resources are updated to reflect the changes as of March 5th. Higher-ups at NOAA are determining now if the restoration blueprint no longer reflects the initial intentions, and if they're deciding how they want to rescind the plan, change the plan, so they can work better with the state. So any state regulation that was in place prior to that is still in place through the sanctuary plan before, but it's kind of an enforcement issue as well. Currently, the Tavernier Creek Extension Zone, which is from the corner with the last house on it, going towards the bay all the way to the first channel marker, is in the review process, and that is coming along and is going to be happening. It has been confirmed that there were signs in San Pedro Lake. We had a person on Woods Avenue that asked us to look into that because there is some jet ski activity tearing up the bottom, some people going in there with boats that shouldn't be going in there, and they're worried about the bottom. So we went and looked at it. There are signs, but we've got to try to get to them because they've fallen over and see what exactly was going on with that. So we're looking into it. I don't intend to stay for the upcoming stuff, but if you guys have any questions for me, please let me know. And that concludes my report.
Anybody have anything for Diane? No? I sit on that committee with you guys.
Thank you so much for
there.
that.
No, you guys have great suggestions. You make progress. They do a really good job. It's very impressive. So,
Thank you.
Good job.
We're a great committee because it's very diverse, and
Yes,
I love
it
that.
is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Diane. Okay. Don, you want me to start with you under Mayor Council Communication?
Thanks, Mayor. Tomorrow the County Commission is going to be discussing the possibility of them approving or not four-laning US 1. And I think our focus for us, I don't know how the rest of the council feels, I haven't spoken to y'all, but I think it'd be terrible for the businesses, for all of Islamorada, if the DOT ever even thought about four-laning US 1 from where it stops up there by Captain's Craig's all the way down through the rest of Islamorada. So I was just thinking that I plan on attending, and I wanted to see if there was an appetite for the council for me to be able to speak on behalf of the council, unless all four of us are going to go. And just simply explain to them, if I can, as a voice of one for the council, that we're not in favor of, or if y'all aren't, in favor of four-laning US 1. I think it's going to affect many more businesses than has been reported by another county commissioner. I think it's in excess of 50 businesses. We've got enough trouble with parking, and we're going to talk about parking tonight in Islamorada a little bit, and we've got enough trouble. These businesses rely on that parking. It's not harmful to anybody. I haven't heard of anybody backing into the middle and getting whacked by a Mack truck, and I just don't think that the county commissioner should get in the business of telling DOT it's okay for them to think about four-lane through Islamorada. Now, if the DOT wants to spend that money, perhaps they can calculate what it is per mile to four-lane that road, and they can grant us that amount of money so that we can put in some kind of internal transit system in Islamorada that can take some of our traffic off of the road and help alleviate some traffic issues here on our own. But we don't need the county commission, or we don't need DOT coming in here destroying our village. And so I'd like to see if I can have permission to speak for this council at the county commission meeting tomorrow. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to jump in here that I'm one of the businesses that would greatly affect. It would basically wipe out all of Mirada. I mean, and today I've met with a whole bunch of the people who own businesses down there, and it would destroy Alamorada, where we just would be a place where people drive through to go to Marathon and Key West. There won't be anywhere to stop. There won't be anything. And I may have a little more, like 5-10 feet. I could open my door and throw something out of it maybe. But there's places like Ziggy's, like Green Turtle, like Midway Cafe, who will literally be gone if we do this. And I reached out to a county commissioner today who I thought would return my phone call, and clearly he didn't want to. So I'm questioning his reasoning for speaking for us when I don't think they have the right to do it. And yes, Don, I'm 100% behind you going there tomorrow, because we're not going to just let them do this. This is crazy. Not only the parking, but what do they do at the bridges? It would back down traffic even worse if you got to merge back to 2 lanes. I wonder how they even thought of it. So there's not, yes for me. Deb?
Well, it's a yes for me, but the ordinance that they've got in front of them is actually for unincorporated. But that being said, it's for unincorporated. It's not, but it will affect Islamorada. And there is question, and I don't know whether, I asked John earlier, I don't know whether you got an answer of whether or not the county's comp plan trumps our comp plan. I don't think so. Did you find an answer?
Yeah, I don't think that it would in this respect. Yeah.
Okay. DOT can trump our stuff, but I don't think the county can. But I don't approve of this, and yeah, it would take out several businesses. I think I agree with you. It's upwards of 50, and there are studies out there that actually say that even though you expand the road to help the traffic, it doesn't necessarily help the traffic, because there's just more cars on the traffic. So it goes right back to where it was in a short period of time. It helps for a short period of time, but not in the long run. So yes, I wouldn't mind you speaking on our behalf that I think they need to think about this. I did speak to one of the county commissioners that did answer the call. A different person, probably. And I understand part of their reasoning is that they can't do anything even about the bridges, widening the bridges, because they have it in their code that they can expand the lanes. So they need the studies and stuff in order to do that. The DOT won't even do the studies if it's still in their code. So I understand where they're coming from, but it's going to put Islamorada in a very bad position. Everything north of us in Tavernier, I believe, is already 2-lane or 4-lane. It's from us south until you get to Marathon, and then farther south the Marathon would actually affect. So you have my support. In fact, you'll probably see me sitting next to you. Thank you.
Steve?
Yeah, I appreciate Don bringing this forth. I fully support the idea of him coming and speaking on this. I plan on attending as well, just to learn more about it, how it came about. I'm concerned that they're basing some of these traffic studies from around COVID time, when traffic was at the least. And so I'm interested in finding out more, and appreciate Don stepping up and speaking for us.
Okay. Anna?
It's a yes for me.
Okay.
Go for it. I think some cars would be driving through the front doors of some businesses in Islamorada.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Deb, you asked for a public discussion on the Anglers Way, and that's it's okay. And I think I want to do public discussion before I jump in. If we can do that, does anybody want to? Marnie, does anybody want to speak on it?
Yes, I have several people who would like to speak. First up would be Ty Harris.
Good evening, everybody. Ty Harris, 110 Plantation Shores Drive, Tavernier, Florida. I represent the Anglers Reef Property Owners Association. And just to kind of pick you up or refresh your memory, after the last meeting, we all sat here with sticker shock when we were presented a plan for parallel parking on on Old Highway that would produce about 19 spaces at a cost of $500,000. Our collective draws dropped, and everybody thought, gee, that's not a good use of taxpayer dollars. My client doesn't want taxpayer dollars to be used like that. And so the point, at that point, there was a discussion about having a meeting chaired by the mayor and by the manager, and that meeting occurred. And at that meeting, we had the mayor, we had the manager, we had John on speakerphone, we had Jennifer, we had AJ, we had Sheila. I don't remember if we had Peter or Daniel, and we had Rob. And so we all sat down and collectively for about an hour and a half went back to the drawing board to think about a more elegant solution that would not cost the taxpayers any money. And one of those proposals involves a lease of the right-of-way in front of anglers. Now, this may not be the perfect solution for everybody. It may not be the perfect solution long-term, but it solves a problem now. And it solves a problem for Anglers Reef. And that would be to enter into a lease that could be terminated by either party in the future that would allow them to make some modest improvements to that area and park there. As part of that lease agreement, we would indemnify, because remember the discussion about people backing out on Old Highway. So part of that lease requires us not only to pay for any improvements in the right-of-way, but also to indemnify the village in case there is an accident and somebody was to pull out and there would be an issue. You will notice that the agreement that was drafted, there's no exhibit or no exhibit A or B, and that's because those all cost more money. And so I couldn't ask my client to pay to survey out the right-of-way area and the money that would cost to do exhibit A and B until I knew that there was direction from the village council for Ron and I to work together to finalize this and finish it up. So that's why you're missing A and B. It's not a unintended oversight. It was deliberate, because there's no point in spending more money on this if that's not the way we're going to go. And again, every island's different. The right-of-way, width of right-of-way on every island is different. So this may not be the right solution for Island, Silver, and Spice if there's a decision to do paid parking there. Maybe that is the place to do metered parking or something else. But for this area, this feels like the best solution to solve this problem without costing the village any money. The village is going to make some money every month on the lease. We're going to incur all the responsibility for improvements, and we're going to indemnify the village for any potential accidents that could occur in the leased area. So that's all I have, but I really appreciate the mayor and Ron and the whole team from the village getting together to kind of talk this through so we could come up with a solution that would work. Thank you.
Thank you, Ty. Marnie?
Next up is Dr. Ken Thomas.
Thank you. My name is Ken Thomas, and thank you for allowing me to appear here again. I've lived in Islamorada for over 20 years, previously appeared here in opposition to this proposal and this agreement. My opposition is not only based on my PhD in finance, my teaching at Wharton, teaching at the University of Miami, but my 50 years of conducting feasibility studies for private and public entities, including Congress. This one-sided license and use agreement for $500 per month for their parking is factually inaccurate. This agreement is not in the best interest of our health, safety, or welfare, and has nothing to do with fire safety. There is no evidence of any kind of any public benefits other than the testimony of the Anglers Reef HOA representative who owns 2 of the 52 units there. This agreement and proposal is solely for the welfare of those wealthy individuals, about half of them from New York, New Jersey, and other states. Remember, it's a private gated community with $1 to $3 million homes, rent up to $900 a night, that we can't even enter with our car, a bike, or walk into it. The agreement and proposal is fiscally irresponsible with no public purpose. With all due respect, I ask you to look at the village mission statement on the wall. How is this enhancing our village character? It changes Winley Key's character to accommodate the rich. How is it preserving our community and natural resources? It paves over our natural resources. How is this supporting our quality of life? Instead of green trees, we'll now be driving past blacktop and cars. Anglers Reef has already benefited twice at our expense. First, they got the ability to cram in 52 units when it should have been no more than 47. And second of all, we granted them a 600-foot right-of-way, 17-foot wide in front of their property, where they built a wall and cut off public access. We teach capitalism at Wharton. If you have a private problem, you find a private solution. That's what Hog Heaven did. They bought the property next to them. Instead of using our resources, they have other options. For example, they could park on that 600-foot right-of-way we gave them. They could lease space from Hog Heaven. They could buy the 31,000 square foot lot for sale right near them for $2.5 million. They could buy that, 0.7 acres, and put over 100 spaces there if they want. They could buy and pave over some of their units that are for sale. The best solution at all comes from their own HOA rules, which state, do not park on our private streets, do not park on our private grass, do not park in a neighbor's driveway. But it says it's okay to park extra vehicles outside the gates. If they have overflow parking, they should park on their private streets, they should park on their private grass, and they should park on their neighbor's driveway, but not on our public median. This agreement and proposal sets a dangerous and costly precedent for other developments.
Thank you.
In summary, the richest 1% of taxpayers at the expense of the rest of us is not justified. There's no public purpose.
Thank you
If you
very
would like
much.
more information, I could be reached at kenmia22@gmail.com, and I'll provide more information if
Thank
anyone
you.
wants it,
Marnie?
including.
Next is Nick Katana.
Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the time to address you. That's a great speech to follow. I, too, studied under Dr. Jeremy Siegel. I've been coming to the Keys since I was a kid. I have a home in Anglers Reef. I'm not mega wealthy.
Excuse me, can you say who you are, please?
I'm sorry, Nick Catania. Nick
Got it?
Catania.
I got it.
So I'm not mega wealthy. I'm not from New York. I grew up in Miami Beach, and I've been coming to the Keys since I was a kid. My wife and daughters bought a house in Anglers Reef in 2012. My wife and I spend about half the year down here. We enjoy it thoroughly. When we bought down here, the complex was already built, so I had nothing to do with back in '08 when it was built. We were allowed to build 52 homes in there. We built 52 homes. Should it have been 47? Maybe, but we always had the implied ability to park overflow traffic outside. This is not a community that can afford to spend $2.7 million on an empty lot next door. It's not as rich as everyone says it is. A lot of the people that live in Anglers part-time, we are local. We come down here all the time. We enjoy the community with our families, with our friends, and the fact that we can't park our cars anywhere now has become a very big problem because now my kids are older. They still want to come to the Keys and enjoy it just like I did. We cannot park on our private streets, as the gentleman stated, because they impede the right-of-way for emergency vehicles. That would be a disaster. So that's out of the question. And this 600 feet of frontage that's outside is built out and is already, there's nothing we can do with that. So for us to be able to park outside like we've been doing since 2008 and alleviate the village of the responsibility of doing so, I think is a win-win situation for everybody. There's 52 homes in there that pay a lot of taxes. We've never really asked for anything from the committee. And all we want to do is just park cars. We don't need 120 parking spots at Hog Heaven. We need about 12. There's no room in there to park even 12 cars on a holiday weekend. My family comes down for Thanksgiving. They come down for, weekends when my kids are out of school, and there's nowhere to park. So I think the proposal that's been put forward is a workable proposal. It's mutually beneficial. It solves our problem. It takes the responsibility off the village. And I really hope that you guys approve this for us, because I think it's the best interest for us. Obviously, it's of a selfish perspective, but yeah, I mean, we've been here, we pay our taxes, and it seems to be a fair thing to do. So we really hope that you guys approve this and give us the opportunity to continue parking out there like we have since 2008.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Marnie?
Next up is Alan Zetik.
Hi. Thanks for allowing us to speak tonight. I have 2 homes in Anglers Reef. I've been coming to Almirada for 45 years. My cousin and I first started, and then I talked my wife into doing so 30 years ago, and we ended up buying 2 homes together. That was our big investment for our family. We come down frequently. My immediate family comes down, my kids, their kids now, 14 grandkids, they come down. Whenever we come down, there's always, even with 2 driveways with places for 4 cars to park, there's not enough places to park. And I never allow them to park on the street, although I'm sure my grandkids would if I wasn't there, and it's very dangerous. And regardless of what he says, you can't turn a fire truck around in there with a car parked in the street. You can't even get around it. Sometimes contractors will come in and they'll park there. And all of a sudden I'll be in the house and I'll hear the horns beeping, and I have to run out there and go, hey, you can't do this, you got to go outside. And they don't want to do it because they got to go get their tools, but it's just not necessary to, it's not necessary, it's not possible to park there safely. If it was, everybody'd be fine with it. We're not looking for anything special. We just want a place to park cars to get them off the road and be safe. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Marnie, who's next?
Scott Ufstein.
Hello again, Commission. Appreciate you all working on this for us for a while now. It's been, 10 months that we've been trying to work something out. And this is, Ty had mentioned, this takes everything off the table for you guys. And I think Mr. Catania had pretty much answered most of the questions that had come up from somebody that was against this. And with the old city manager, and I don't know how many of you have visited inside Anglers Reef. I know the mayor has, and you drive through our streets. There is nowhere to park. There's nowhere for us to develop to do parking. We wouldn't be here if that was the case, right? We're still going to make it beautiful. It's just going to be cars and landscaping. So I don't understand why somebody would have an issue with that. It's cars and landscaping. And for over 15 years, it's just been cars and trailers looking like a disaster. So let's beautify it. Let's put cars and landscaping there and make it look nice. And it's going to look nice when it's done. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing and hope that we can work this out and get this done, because this is like our last straw. My kids come, there is nowhere to park. We're all feeling it. It's picture yourself coming and inviting guests over, and there's nowhere to park in the community. We're frantically calling neighbors to use their driveways and trying to find other places to park. It's a disaster within the community, and we need help. And we've been asking for 10 months now, and I hope we can get this worked out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marnie, anyone else?
Yep, a couple more speakers. Next up is Jose Barros.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Jose Barros. I'm MD in Miami and live here too. And I'm from Anglers Reef. And really, pretty much all my neighbors have been expressing that. Really what we want is just a place that we could park, a place that we could bring our friends and our neighbors to share together. It's a nightmare. I'm using here, I'm not living in New York, and here local. And we provide a lot of care. This is the time that we're coming for our families to relax. We are coming to enjoy. And really, it creates isolation. I could invite a friend to come to my house. I have friends that live in this area in Venetian Shores. They couldn't come to Anglers Reef because there is no place to park in. I'm texting all the time my neighbors, hey, could you borrow your parking? Can I borrow your park? That's not the way that we should be. We should come here, enjoy, relax, everybody as a good neighbor. And really, I don't see that. We are not millionaires. We are people that are working, that provide a lot of support to the community, and that's basically what we need. You help, and actually we are proposing something that is going to be pretty, it's going to be useful, it's going to be good for everybody. It's a win-win situation. There is nobody's going to be affected on that, and I don't see why this cannot go through. But thank you so much for your time. I've been in the last meeting. I was a lot of time consuming. This is a lot more time consuming. Thank you so much, all you guys, for what you do. Okay.
Thank you. Marnie?
Next up is Joe Wishmeyer.
Yes, Joe Wishmeyer, Plantation. Somebody left their glasses up here. Okay. I keep hearing the word, there was a problem. There isn't a problem. There is self-inflicted wounds here because we got greedy. We built more houses than maybe what we should have. I do remember the times where it looked pretty trashy out there because all the trailers were there and all. Just because they've been illegally doing that since 2008 doesn't mean that they had permission or that they could do it. I believe that if you go ahead with this, we all know what parking is like, especially in Islamorada. If you open this up to one, then other groups are going to say, well, why can't we do it? Why can't we do it? And then before you know it, we've got all the right-of-way. It's going to just turn into nothing but a big parking lot. So they knew what the conditions were when they planned this. This should be a warning, especially to our planning department. Look, if it's not going to be enough parking, either build less houses or make arrangements for a parking area. So because it's a self-inflicted wound and the people who bought the houses, they knew how many parking spaces they were going to have, so they pretty much knew it was going to be an issue. So I feel their plight, but unfortunately, it is what it is. So I would hope that you would say no and just keep the village out of it. Thank you.
Marnie, is there anyone else?
I have a hand that just went up on Zoom if you're willing to let that person
That's fine.
speak. Okay. Lisa Barr, hold on just 1 second, and I will get you ready to talk. Okay, go ahead. You've got 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. I regret that I am not able to be there in person, and I truly appreciate everyone that has spoken up for the community so far. I am not a wealthy millionaire either, and when we are there visiting, we love to have company over, especially our local family. So I would ask that we please consider allowing parking back. When we purchased our house, we were allowed to park outside of the community, which was very convenient. So it would be great. This has been a long time in the works. It would be great if we could have that area back again. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Marnie, anyone else?
Let me double check with Zoom one more time. Okay. No, ma'am.
Okay, so this is us deciding whether we're going to move forward or not. Does anybody have anything to say? Deb, do you have anything to say?
Yes. Does anybody want to go first besides me? Dawn, do you want to go first? I'll go.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so the current owners, for the most part, I don't know how many of the current owners have been there since the beginning. They didn't plan this. It was built legal parking-wise. All of that was legal. You know, when a unit was supposed to have 2 parking spaces, it has 2 parking spaces. So yeah, you've kind of bought into it. There's a variety of reasons why I would have to have a lot of other things happen before I would agree to this. One, on the right-of-way usage. Eventually, hopefully, we can get the bridges expanded or the drawbridge taken away, and it's going to need long, long approaches. They're going to want that. And when we were working on comp plan ideas and things, we talked about that road along there, as well as other parts in Islamorada as a multi-use path. to try to help alleviate some of that road traffic and put people on bicycles and other things instead. The safety element of backing onto the road, even though I know we have to change our code in order to get there, it's still not going to be a good safety thing. It's still going to be backing out onto the road, and we see more traffic on it. I think people aren't used to seeing people backing out onto the road there. I suppose they've gotten used to it down across from Worldwide. Excuse me. Worldwide. But I worry about the safety thing. It's great that the Anglers Reef is going to worry about the insurance and keep us safe. But let's talk about the people actually getting hurt. We don't want that. I think that road along there is traveled at a higher speed than some of the other sections of the old highway. So FDOT, we just talked about the fact that FDOT is desiring to widen the road to help with our traffic issue. I'm not sure they're going to get that done, but it would make this really strange to do this and then have that happen. So we need to do what we can here in Islamorada to do this. The way, and I fully understand that this is just a rough draft and that the attachments weren't included and all that, but there's lots of things in here. Like, is it for vehicle parking only? How about trucks? How about trailers? What it does the permit, what will the permit actually allow? The length of 25 years is way longer than I anticipated it being, and the renewal of 10 years after that for an unspecified number of times, whether that's 1 or 5 or indefinitely, that's even more crazy. In a couple places in there, it talks about the vote of the council being a supermajority to revoke the 10-year periods. Does it take a supermajority to pass this? And if it doesn't, then why does it take a supermajority to remove a 10-year renewal? Should the supermajority be related to this initial vote? Can the village, I think I found this answer in there, but I'll say it out loud anyway. Can the village cancel with proper notice if we just want the property back that we've decided it's not a good idea? Or do we have to have what I'll call just cause, that they've broken the rules of the area? Is it exclusively for anglers parking, and how is that going to be enforced? The $500 a month, that's approximately $10 per unit. That's pretty cheap parking. Even at $20, because there was a possibility of raising that at $20 a month, that's pretty cheap parking these days. There's lots more questions about the lease, but as I said, I know it's a draft, and there's no sense in nitpicking it when we're only working on a draft.
Go ahead, Ron.
I'm not done.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Does the village have a vacant lot close to there that we could help with overflow in them leasing or renting a vacant lot as opposed to our right-of-way? There's the cost that we quoted about $500,000 to build the, I thought it was 30 parking spaces, but somebody said 19 today. I suspect you could do it for cheaper, but they're still going to be required to pull a permit and meet all the codes, the building codes, both the size, the stormwater, the landscaping, the hand capping, the setbacks, the turning requirements. You must stay out of the DOT right away, and that's kind of, there's enough space and there isn't. It's very borderline. You can't build over the right-of-way or over the utilities that are in that area. There's 52 units in that complex. 41 of them are vacation rentals. One of them is homesteaded. So that implies that 10 of them are second homes. They were built with 2 parking spaces. They were not built with additional parking inside the complex. No fault of the current owners, but that's the fault of the builders. But it was built to code, so you are exactly right about the driveway. It's not wide enough to park a car and then still have a driving lane or get an emergency vehicle, so that is not an option. The vacation rental parking ordinance implies that you must provide spaces as it was in your vacation rental license approved. I have no idea what all of those units were approved for space-wise, or you are to provide parking elsewhere. So there's something going on with the vacation rental licenses. There's several businesses along there that might take advantage. One of the speakers spoke about the businesses taking advantage of it farther down. I think the one that probably would be first on the list would be Winley Key Trailer Park. They have always complained about not having enough parking. Then there's Sun Outdoors, Drop Acres, Fisher's Inn, Hog Heaven, the new affordable project that's proposed to go into next to Fisher's Inn. Farther south, Chef Michael's, the 2 breweries, the Green Turtle, Lazy Days, several of the condos along the old highway, Papa Joe's, Worldwide Sportsman, the Moose. There's lots of places in town that we don't have enough parking. There's been proposed that we do a parking study and see if we can figure out where we can find parking. Maybe we need to do that first. There's at least 3, probably more, that I didn't think of that we have suggested when strongly suggested when they did upgrades to their businesses that they buy a lot. That was Marker 88, the Fishing Club, and Hog Heaven. That's the only way we solve those problems is by finding another lot that we can park cars in. So at this point, I'm not in favor of this. Thank you. Now I'm done.
Ron, did you want to say something?
Just a couple of points of clarification. This proposal is from Ty Harris. This wasn't negotiated really because we didn't want to spend, just as Ty didn't want to spend money of his client doing studies or whatever, we didn't want to spend our attorney's time negotiating something until we got direction from the council. So that's one thing. A couple of terms in here, some of the terms I think were put in there because there was an expectation on their part that they may have to spend up to $100,000, $500,000, and they didn't want to put a lot of money into this if they didn't have a guaranteed long term. What I would expect with that, we would not have them required to do a lot of improvement at all. And also the term would be, in the agreement it says 90-day notice. I would say just leave it at 90 days and then make it a short term, subject to either side canceling within 90 days. The lease amount was probably low because they thought they might have to put more money into improvements there too. So in looking at this, right now it's no parking. We have signs that says no parking, so nobody can use it. The understanding that I had was that this would not be exclusive. In other words, just because they would pay the village a certain amount, that anybody could park there. We cannot restrict it to non-residents of Anglers Reef, for example. The expectation is that most people that would park there would be the Anglers Reef people. If somebody wanted to park from the trailer park, they would be allowed to park there. It's just that they wanted to have the right to park there. Without some agreement, we really couldn't say, let's just take the no parking signs down, because then there's really no control. So in looking at the agreement, I think this was a starting point. We wanted direction from the council. Do we want to negotiate something? My intention would be to make it non-exclusive. It's open to everybody. The rent would have to be a little bit more than $500 a month. and we would not require them to do extensive renovations, because if we cancel it in 90 days, they wouldn't be able to recoup their investment. I think that answers some of the questions there. As far as long-term, we are looking at paid parking throughout the village. I've talked to Jennifer, we probably need a parking study for the entire village. This is, to me, be more of a short-term response to a problem. It's not going to fix any long-term problems, but I think in the short term, we have a parking available there that nobody can park in at all, just because we've decided there's no parking. And so if we can relieve a short-term problem, that's why we're bringing it before you. But obviously, we want direction from the council tonight.
Don, would you like to go next?
If it's okay, thank you. So I think it was probably about 10 years ago, I recognized that the village was going to have this problem, and I wrote a code. And I gave it to one of our planning directors back then, and it was really more for the Arts District and the downtown walking and historic area of Islamorada. But I think that, it's something that's expandable. We see businesses all the time in Islamorada going to DOT and asking for a DOT lease. If it wasn't for a DOT lease, a lot of those businesses wouldn't have enough parking. We live on an island. We're a small area. Our properties are small. Whoever developed that property developed it according to the code, and the folks that live there now are, paying for that development. I think I kind of, I don't have a problem with the village allowing parking on the right of way. It works in downtown Islamorada. It works in the Arts District. It has alleviated pressure off of a lot of those businesses down there. I'm not in agreement with necessarily leasing the village's right of way. I still believe that in order to have a self-perpetuating program, that we should have paid parking. I think that we should designate parking areas. We should design them the way they work. I'm hopeful that the planning department is in agreement with this council, because I think we all agreed, or the most of us agreed, that we didn't have a problem with backing onto the old road. It hasn't created hate and discontent and havoc and death in downtown Islamorada, and I don't think it's going to on Winley Key. I guess as a compromise, I wouldn't have a problem agreeing to allow them at their expense to, at our design, maybe pervious pavers or something. I don't want to see us start asphalting our rights of way. I don't think we should create more of a stormwater management plan. We've already got that, our stormwater management problem. I think we already have that problem. So if we go in there with some turf blocks and pervious pavers, and we make some controlled parking, and we agree with this group that at their expense they develop that in that area, which is what that code that I wrote 10 years ago allowed businesses to do. If they couldn't expand in their business or improve their business or increase intensity or density of use, they would be allowed to come to the village and pay to install additional parking areas that the village would be able to then meter as parking. And when I say meter, I don't mean you go in there and put the quarter, like you thought. You pull up, you get on your app, and you reserve that spot for whatever length of time. So I'd be okay with a short-term lease that would remain in effect until we formally adopted our parking plan to where we have paid parking in the village. And then from that point on, it would automatically roll in to a paid parking amount. I agree with Deb that $500 a month for all that parking is a giveaway. I think that the studies that I've looked at, the average is probably around $3 an hour for paid parking throughout the nation. It's a lot more in other places like San Francisco, but it's about what it is in Asheville, and it's about what it is in Miami if I go to a basketball game and at the park. So I think there's a compromise here somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is because there's not enough, of a plan to put that. But I would start off with saying I'm okay with compromising and saying for the short term, they develop it, they put it in, it's done in a design standard that our civil engineer thinks is going to be the least harm to our environment. And then when we adopt a paid parking plan, it automatically rolls into that.
Steve, would you like to go?
First of all, I just want to commend the HOA and Ty for bringing this to us and kind of coming off this idea of maybe permanent parking, which what we were talking about before. I don't really want to go on and on. Instead, just agree with what I've heard from council and from a couple of the public and their concerns, such as the precedent that it might set for other properties. And so for that and a lot of the reasons that were already discussed, I can't support it as it is right now.
Anna?
Well, I got some agreements, some disagreements. So all up and down the Keys, they're FDOT leases, Key Largo to Key West, all up and down. People use them for parking all throughout. So I don't have a problem doing a lease with them if it's non-exclusive, no trailers, they landscape it, it's all on them, indemnify us. I kind of agree with the short-term thing, not 10 years or whatever, until we do our parking study and then come up with a parking plan and we implement it throughout the village. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever, but I think in the meantime, it solves a problem. We can't go back and make them tear down buildings because somebody else approved something that now nobody else likes. I mean, that's not right. So it's a problem for another time, and at least this fixes something for the short term. And I'm up for more like $1,000 a month or a year. So it's like $20 a month for each homeowner. So if they're not really, we're not paving, they're not putting that much money into it. I don't think a couple $100 a year for each homeowner is asking for too much.
Okay. So that leaves me. And I have been working on this with them I felt like it was 5 years. And I will say that I'm sort of surprised at some of the attitudes that we're not supposed to help people. It's their problem. They bought the place. So why are that's your problem, not ours. That's not what I see my job is. I see my job as trying to find solutions to the problems in this community. And I don't agree with Deb, with making that a golf cart lane, because I don't know who is going to use a golf cart in that small area. So I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the backing out to US 1. I think that it would look 100% better. We already went to SD Marine, and the trailers are going there. It'll just be vehicles, not costing the taxpayers any money to landscape it or set it up, which to me is a win-win situation. And I do agree with the short term just to see how it works, but I do think we should have a say in what it looks like, when you draw what you're going to draw. We had talked about 3 landscaping down so it would look nice. And all this was trying to help solve a problem for the people who live in this community. And if you turn your back on the people when they have a problem, then I don't know why anybody's sitting up here. I don't. So my thought is that I would like to say we move forward with this. And if I can get 3 out of 5 votes, I say we move forward with this and help these people have a place to park. And as far as the paid parking goes, I know that's your thing. And I'm okay with that. However it works out, we already know it can't be just them parking there. We've already had that discussion. Everything has already sort of been discussed. And I think this is the middle of the road that this community needs to take. So I guess right now then, Ron, do we need to take an informal vote to move forward?
No, at this point, I think I have direction. I think if it's a short-term, non-exclusive lease with at least, let's say, $1,000 a month rent, we can negotiate that with Mr. Harris and bring it back maybe the October 7th meeting for approval. So it won't be a final approval to the October 7th, but we can work on the details, get the survey done that we need as far as the additional exhibit, et cetera. Now that we think we have at least some direction as far as for a short-term, non-exclusive lease where we're not requiring them to do a lot of improvement, I think we have some room to negotiate it.
I see.
Ron, there's a couple of times you said "we." You're not talking about the village taxpayers paying for these surveys and all of this stuff.
No.
Okay.
It'd be the homeowner association, Mr. Harris. We'll sit down with them and put our requirements on the parking situation as far as, environmental issues, et cetera. But as far as the improvements will be 100% Anglers Reef.
And we'll defer to our planning director to make sure whatever happens there is going to meet with our code 100%.
Yeah, and the other thing, obviously, we're still waiting on the comp plan, which is coming soon, and hopefully they'll address some parking issues in the comp plan. If not, I've talked to Jennifer, maybe authorizing a parking study for the entire village, because I totally agree we need paid parking. We need to get ahead of that curve. It's not as big an issue as it will be in 5 or 10 years, so we should address it now. As Vice Mayor said, we are looking at parking apps, for example, the one they have in Key West. I'm talking to that company to get some proposals for y'all to look at. But at this point, it's premature to do the whole village. This might actually be a way to kind of do a pilot project and see how it does work with paid parking.
Did you want to say something else?
I did. First of all, I never said I didn't want to help anybody.
I didn't say you said that.
No, you didn't, but you implied it. And I suggested a couple ideas of trying to find other things. There's other places along there that have asked for parking all along. And just because we didn't do it in the past doesn't mean we don't do it in the future. But to put some temporary parking in there it's still going to have to follow code. And so I'm not sure that Anglers Reef is going to like the price of a temporary parking and following what we have to do with code. We've been guilty in the past of not enforcing our code. We need to get better at that. There's places that we need to turn the other cheek and not be so strict. But I just have a hard time with this one. Sorry.
Okay, so Anna, did you want to go again?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, everybody keeps talking about paid parking, and you also got to look at it as ultimately this is paid parking. They're going to pay to park here, and this is something we don't have to implement. We don't have to monitor. They're going to pay us every month.
Yeah, which is why I'm okay doing it in a temporary basis until we pass our code that would allow for metered type of parking. And I think that would be my compromise, is not kick it off at the beginning because we don't have that in our code.
And this way we have a uniform policy.
And we're throwing more work on Jennifer as she already has. So, but I think it's a problem all of Islamorada has. It's a problem all of the kids have. You see willy-nilly parking all over the place. This at least will be some controlled parking that is done, to help the community. The businesses are going to need this in the future, and I just think that I don't mind doing this on a temporary basis until our paid parking is adopted.
Okay, so then that means that maybe 2 against and 3 for. Is that how we have to look at this?
Not really, because we're not asking for a formal vote, and perhaps if we come back with an agreement, the people who may not be supportive now may, when they look at the final agreement, may have an open mind to it. So.
Okay, but do you think you have 3 that are willing to move ahead?
Yes.
I'm glad you. I'm willing, and Anna's willing, so it's 3. Okay? Okay. Moving ahead. Thank you. Village Attorney, Village Manager, John.
There was a discussion actually before about maybe wanting to have a comment about tab 4 that was on consent. Did you guys, I wasn't sure if you guys moved that to the mayor council communications or if tab 4
I
was
was going
getting
to do it when
pulled.
we got there, but you can do it now if you want, Deb.
Yeah, because if you want to do it, then we'll have to pull it from consent, but if you want to, we can do it either way.
Well, it's part of consent, so I thought I had to pull it. So wherever we talk about it, it's fine.
Okay, so we'll pull it
It'll
and
take me
then-
3 minutes,
All right.
not even 3 minutes.
We'll pull it from consent and put it in resolutions, and then that way we
That's
can move
fine.
on. I just wasn't sure
That's fine.
where we were.
Okay.
Okay.
So do you have anything, Ron?
I think you wanted, on the, an update on the church, just shortly. We did another site visit to the church, happened to be on a rainy day, which actually turned out to be fortunate because we got to identify some places that were leaking. So Jennifer and Sheila and AJ and I did another walkthrough, and we do think there needs to be some patching on the roof. We're having somebody go out and look at it. And then we also need to look at getting it up to code as far as sprinklers, et cetera. I am getting, because of our workshop last week, I'm getting some people that aren't necessarily wanting to buy it, but they want to use it. Some choirs, some choruses, some community organizations. But unfortunately, we cannot have anybody from the public in there until we get it up to code. The church was exempted from some of the requirements, and so I don't have an issue with come back to you guys and saying, would you like to have X, Y, Z go in there? But in the short term, we can't have any public use in there until that. Having said that, I've also asked our Public Works Department to move their trucks from out of the Green Turtle Hammock, and they've been occupying that for various uses. We have an empty parking lot behind the church, and so at least in the short term, I've asked Public Works to move all their trucks out of Green Turtle to the church. There's also some space inside the church where they might have some meeting rooms for their employees, because right now they're using Green Turtle as kind of that situation too. And if there's extra room, we would like to then start moving some of the places from out of here over there also. Once AJ has a better idea of how many trucks and how much equipment he can store behind the church, if there's extra room from the Green Turtle Hammock, we'll try to get some equipment from out of here also over there. So in the short term, we want to use the church for our purposes as much as we can to alleviate problems other places.
Okay. All right, John, do you have?
I have a question about that.
Go ahead.
So I didn't hear anything about the fact of us potentially liquidating it from our inventory. And I thought that was the question on the agenda.
Go ahead.
The original agenda said asking for direction about selling the property. If you see now, it just says next steps. We had a workshop, I think all of you either attended in person or watched it, and there was some concern in the community about just putting it up for sale and not knowing what our plan was for it. I still think we need to look at changing the zoning, but that's my personal opinion. It'll have to be done by the council. As far as putting it up for sale, I don't think it's a big secret that we own the property and that if somebody wants to make an offer, they can make an offer. The question was whether we want to list it. We didn't want to list it because every realtor in town would be wanting the listing. And so at this point, we're not saying we're not selling it. We're not saying we're selling it. If we get an offer, I'll bring it to the council. So as far as direction goes, I think in the meantime, we need to get that up to speed. We don't want to have mold and mildew, for example, because we want to not have it go down in its condition. We want to at least maintain the condition and get it up to code so we can at least have some community events there. But in the short term, we just want to make sure it meets code requirements. As far as selling it, once again, if somebody wants to come and make an offer, they're free to make an offer.
Go ahead, Don. Did you want to say something?
Look, Anna's the expert on since she's a realtor, but I think that since the law has changed on commissions and stuff, we can put it out there to realtors and say, if your buyer wants to buy, then you put the commission on the buyer and come make us an offer. And if it's a reasonable offer, I just think we ought to probably, I don't know, put a for sale by owner sign out there. But I mean, is that not right that the realtors now can put the commission on the buyer and not share it between the buyer and seller?
Correct.
And so I think that there was a consensus among this council previously to have this thing for sale. And quite honestly, I don't know if that parking lot's big enough for everything that AJ has acquired through the years. So maybe he needs to find something bigger.
Well, and I don't think spending a whole bunch of money on it is the right decision to move forward with either. And we have no
To
plan.
clarify, we're not looking at a new roof at this point, we're just looking at patching the
Right.
existing roof and then putting a sprinkler in just for health, safety reasons, but no major improvements at this point. Number one, we don't have the money in the budget. But as Vice Mayor said, nothing prevents somebody from coming in and just make an offer and paying the realtor themselves. So we're not talking about listing it for sale. When it's on the front page of the paper, it's not a big secret that we might be open to it, but I didn't want to push the issue since there was some concern in the community.
Deb, did you want to say something?
Yes, but I keep changing my mind on what I'm going to talk about. Which one first? I think you need to be very cautious in moving things out of this park into something that we don't know what we're going to do, whether we're keeping it or not, because once you do that, then you've got to find a new home for it again. And I don't think the church, even in the long run, would be the answer to the stuff here at the park. Temporarily getting it out of the Green Turtle is fine. I don't have a problem with that. And your temporary fix on the roof is good. I don't know how much you're talking in a sprinkler system or whatever, but I'd be cautious spending a lot of money because we talked last time about to bring it to code and I know that's the far end of bringing it to code, but it could be $1 million. I mean, there's no sense in putting a lot of money into it if we don't know where we're going with this.
I totally agree, and once again, the patch estimate I heard was $4,000, for example. Something like that. And then I agree with you also about the long-term aspects of the church. We are actually looking for some more suitable places to put the Public Works Department as far as all their equipment outside of Green Turtle. Green Turtle needs to get out tomorrow, as far as I'm concerned. It shouldn't be there now, and we need to start improving the Green Turtle. It's really nice, by the way, if you haven't been there. The pavilion turned out nicely, and we want to make it a real showcase. And right now, it's got a bunch of Public Works equipment and all there, which they had to do. They had nowhere else to put it. Now they do. They have the church in the short term. In the long term, there's a couple of pieces of property available for either lease or for sale that we're looking at, just to bring back to you. Unfortunately, the things for sale are very expensive. There may be some lease opportunities, at least short term, where we can put the equipment. Also, as an aside, I have been directed by the council to look at the possibility of contracting out some of our public works stuff. So that could be another situation to take into account. Are we going to have all those trucks and all that equipment in the long run? And I don't know the answer yet. I've already been in conversation with a lot of landscaping companies that are very interested in talking to us. I met with AJ and asked him to give us his work plan so they can kind of look and see which parts of it they may want to take over, for example. But those things take a while. And so in the short term, I just want to get Green Turtle squared away because that's a jewel that we really want to protect. And the public had some complaints about what was going on over there, and I agreed with them. As far as the park, that's in the long-range plan of getting stuff out of here. So at least get them out and then stage it somewhere else. There's been other things, for example, the hill. I'm not real thrilled about that because it's a really nice place and we should improve it, not junk it up with more stuff. So we're looking at different possibilities, I guess, is the answer. But in the short term, that church is there, had an empty parking lot. It made sense just to use that in the short term.
Okay. All right. Can we move on? Okay. John, do you have anything?
Nope, nothing from me.
Okay. 2 hours later. Marnie, general public comment.
Okay, we will start with Sue Miller.
Zipping along here.
Sue Miller, Lower Matacumbe. If you would all speak into your microphones better, I'd be able to hear. I'm really concerned about public engagement. And how many people are here? It's really sad to me that we don't have more people here to listen to all the things that you've already talked about without public comment. I was surprised that we had public comment for one issue, and how many people were here to talk about it when it's clearly not an area that we should have been prepared to talk about. How did they even know that there was going to be an opportunity to talk? I am really upset this week because of the agenda. It was 779 pages that we got at 11 o'clock Sunday morning. And really, I'm not a speed reader. I spent a lot of time looking at it, and to think that we used to get agendas on Friday for a Thursday meeting, now we get them on Sunday for a Tuesday meeting. It doesn't work for me, and it was really upsetting. And then when you look at the Thursday meeting, 5 quasi-judicial hearings in one meeting. We have one of them that took 5 hours to hear at the original time, and now they want to amend it, and you're including it with 4 other. It's just mind-boggling to me to figure out how we figure out our agendas and what the priority of the agendas are. Some of the things in the seem less critical than others. Some seem to be rushed, some seem to be delayed. I can never figure out how you establish your priorities. But I will tell you that I don't think there's anything more important than the 4-laning issue on US 1. And to think that that was first voted on by the Monroe County Commission 4-1 in February, and now we have all these months later, is it 7 months later, that you're talking about it publicly for the first time. And I'm very grateful that we're going to have a representative of the village to speak at the meeting tomorrow. But it's really, our whole town should be involved in this. Everybody that's here should be at that meeting tomorrow. It would destroy our community to have to 4-lane. And I haven't heard from any attorney whether there is anything that might be required of Alamorada. Thank you.
Excuse me, Sue? Oh, okay, I was just going to say, I didn't know if you're speaking on the Community Alliance thing. So, anybody else, Marnie?
Yes, ma'am. Next up, Joe Wishmeyer.
Yes, Joe Wishmeyer, Plantation Key. Mayor and Council, I'm here tonight to talk about some of the unfairness of the restrictions placed on your constituents, the public, especially during quasi-judicial hearings. Quasi-judicial hearings are meant to get the truth on very important issues that affect people's lives for years and years to come. To make such life-altering decisions, council members should want all pertinent information. Not just staff information, but also information from those affected by those decisions, the public. While the numerous staff members have weeks, if not months, to research and collect information, the affected people have to wait until the agenda is posted to get that opinion and information. That only leaves a couple of days for us to read and research that information. Normally that happens late Friday afternoon, so 2 of those days are on weekends when lots of businesses are closed. Then you only give us 3 minutes to state our concerns and information during testimony. When council combines 2 tabs together, you still only give us 3 minutes total, not 3 minutes per tabbed item, which is the norm. I do not believe that the village charter states that. As it is, also unreasonable. For example, the quasi-judicial hearing in December 2022, including Crooked Palm Distillery, and hearings before that, there were no time restrictions. Now this council will be asked to remove 6 conditions that were agreed to by the owners and neighbors. These conditions were agreed to in order to secure the votes for the major conditional use permit needed to approve, and also the neighbors' quiet enjoyment of life. from current and future owners. It took over 17 months of meetings, negotiatings, and variances to come up with a mutual agreement. Let's talk about integrity. What happened to a man's word is his bond. When you give your word, don't you feel a responsibility to honor that promise? Now, after only a few days' notice, you will be asked to remove 17 months of hard work by council, staff, and neighbors. On Thursday, please vote to preserve our community and protect our quiet enjoyment of life, like it states in our mission statement, and deny the request. Since elected, you were sworn to uphold the mission statement. Don't forget the word integrity. I also heard tonight the mayor was talking about you don't want to turn your back on people. You're here to help people. Well, we are asking for help. They have not demonstrated any reason why the hours should be changed, and we'll get into more of that on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Marnie?
Yes, next up and last speaker is Joe Zymek.
Welcome back. I'm back. Welcome back. 25 years in this place. A lot of time. We're sitting in a place that was created by some people who had a vision 25 years ago. You're sitting in it. There's a pool over there and a park. Okay? Think about that. By the way, according to the paper, thank you very much for looking at that building that you're talking about, the building here. And basically, you did something. You did something. Using the voice of reason and the physical model he's using didn't make any sense. We didn't need it. Thank you. You probably asked yourself why we could not intelligently answer the questions of the 5 whys of sane management. You did that. Thank you. Now, let's go to the hard part. First, there are 40 homes for sale in Sun Properties, 100 yards away. They're not homesteaded, to my knowledge. Their tax revenues are about $7,000 to $10,000 each. What are they paying in taxes? You guys are looking to raise our taxes. There's guys over there with a free ride. What are you doing about it? Huh? No, you don't have to answer the question. What are they paying? Missing revenue from these properties, 40 properties, is about $300,000 to $500,000 a year. Why is the Islamorada Monroe tax assessor not receiving this tax money? Mr. Village Attorney, isn't this not fair to the rest of us? Think about it. Councilmen and women, you are bound to direct the manager to do things. But basically, I'm going to use 2 words: do something. I've listened to you all here for the last 2 hours. You were elected to represent the residents of Islamorada. None of you ever asked me what I thought. You ask me, why aren't there people here? Good question. Why don't you find out why there aren't people here? As a resident of this place, do something. Focus on the needs of the village residents, not on the type of grass, real or artificial, or the number of parking places we need somewhere. My final words are, do something. Thank you.
Marnie, is that the last person?
It was. Alina Davis has her hand up on Zoom now.
Okay.
Okay, Alina, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
I am trying.
We can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I could not agree with Joe Wishmeyer more. His statements truly represent what so much of the village people have to say, but so many of us are too busy, have kids, have other jobs. So many have second jobs to be able to live in our village. And we need to be able to live in this village. We are fortunate. We built our house in 1993, right after Hurricane Andrew. And but there are so many who are coming to our village and have the aspirations to be able to live here and work here and purchase and raise their families. So now we get back to the village properties. I think Ron Saunders has done a great job thinking outside the boundaries. Let's get the stuff out of Green Turtle. Let's get it onto the village property. That parking lot is scarified. Green Turtle is pristine, or should have been maintained pristine. Moving the Parks and Works vehicles to the other site at Founders Park, maybe that's phase one, but it is important because it saves the integrity of our park. And then that leads us to the artificial turf versus grass. And there is absolutely no explanation for the school board to be spending $1 million on turfing our baseball field for $1 million for 10 years, when annualized, like John Weir on our Parks and Rec Committee, which I am a part of, said that's $100,000 a year. Oh my gosh, imagine that. You could spend $25,000 or $50,000 on making that a beautiful grass field. And wouldn't that be a wonderful thing rather than making it plastic? So I appreciate all of your comments, all of your considerations, but please remember that this is our village. This is not Dade County. This does not belong to the school board. This is ours. I thank you.
Thank you, Alina. Can I have Don address the gentleman? Because he has been looking into Sun Community, so you think we're doing nothing. Would you tell us what you found?
So there's 3 Florida statutes that are involved in why those are in the shape they are and not paying taxes. And I have spoken to some of our state legislators. I have asked to be on the Florida League of Cities Advocacy Committee. I have met with several people during the last meeting that we had with the Florida League of Cities. And I am hoping that we can make some type of change to our Florida statute that would then allow those to be taxed. In the meantime, I've asked our village manager, and I think he's had discussion with our village attorney to see if we can put them in some type of special taxing district. If there's some way that we can get them to start having to pay some of their way instead of utilizing all of the services they get for free. I've even gone as far as maybe recommending, and I don't know if it's possible, and the attorney's going to have to really look into that, is making them pay if they want to come into Founders Park. Because they're not paying taxes within the village. They're getting fire, they're getting ambulance, using our streets and all of the other, all the other things that we get by paying taxes for nothing. And so we're working on it, Joe. You know full well government is like turning a battleship sometimes. I know Mr. Wishmeyer is trying to help me on that and looking into some properties. I actually talked to one lady who's a mayor of a small town where 50% of her houses in that little town is that. And so 50% of the occupants in that little town are getting a free ride in that little town. So she's the mayor in there. She fully understands it. And she is a co-chair on the advocacy committee. So it's turning the battleship, but we're doing something.
You did something.
Thank you.
Okay, just wanted to put that out there. Okay. John, can we go to consent agenda?
Yes, we can. We're into the consent portion of the agenda. These items are of a routine nature, and council members have reviewed these items in advance and sought the advice of staff as they felt necessary. There'll be one vote on the consent items, which today are tabs 2, 3, and 5 through 8, and those are items Roman numeral 9, A, B, D through G. That's Alpha, Bravo, Delta through Golf. If anyone would like to pull an item from consent, he or she should state so now.
Do I need to restate that?
No, that's already been
Okay.
pulled. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so,
I'll make a motion to approve.
do I have a second?
Second.
Do we
Marty?
have to?
We have public comment.
Oh, I. Is there any public comment?
Yes, ma'am, there is. Sue Miller.
I want to talk about the pooled one.
Good to go.
Okay, so we have a first and a second. Marnie, do you want to call the roll, please?
Councilmember Deb Gillis.
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton.
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Yes.
The motion passes 5-1, or 5-0.
John, that moves us to 9.
Yep, no, tab
No.
4.
Oh.
Yeah. Almost, we'll get there next.
Go ahead, Deb. Sorry. That's okay.
Tab 4 is a resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada Village of Islands, Florida, approving an agreement with Playmore Recreational Products and Services for Founders Park Beach Inclusive Playground, authorizing village officials to implement the terms and conditions of the agreement, authorizing the village manager to expend budget funds, authorizing the village manager to execute the agreement, and providing for an effective date.
Okay. Deb, do you want to ask any questions, or you pulled it, so what would you like to discuss?
I don't need a presentation. I just wanted to pull it to say that this is about a $600,000 project, and the TDC, through their capital project, has paid for, or will pay for, is a better phrase, $497,000 and some change. So they've paid for the majority of this particular project. And I think the fact that we're taking into account some of the stuff that the Miller Lag suggested in relocating it while we're replacing the equipment makes perfect sense. So I assume that's where some of the additional, because if I remember right, when it came to TDC, I sit on the DAC committee. It was for the playground equipment, so there's been some additional costs since then, but I just think it's fair for them to get credit that they gave us $500,000.
Marie, did you want to say anything?
No, I'm excited about getting this project going. It's been over, I think, a year and a half in the making. So, yes, please approve the item, and we'll go ahead and get things rolling. Thank you.
Okay, well, we have, I think, Sue, you wanted to public comment before we move forward?
Sue Miller, Lower Matacumbe. The only thing that I wanted to say is that maybe it was a long agenda item, and I couldn't find where there's an option 1, 2, and 3, and there's nothing. I thought that you had to select which of the 3 options you wanted to use, and I didn't see how that could be in the consent agenda unless you're leaving it up to the manager to decide. Thank you. I like option 1.
Okay, council, anybody have any discussion? Anything? Deb, anything else? Don?
No, I think it's great to get $600,000 worth of work for $100,000, so I'm
Okay.
happy about it. I'd move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Marnie?
Vice Mayor Don Horton.
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis.
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards.
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Yes.
The motion passes
And-
5-0.
And by the way, I do have to recuse myself on that committee to vote on this item. At DAC, I can't vote on this item.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
So I do have to recuse myself.
Okay. John?
Thank you.
Yep.
9?
Tab 9, resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada Village of Islands, Florida, approving the First Amendment to the contract for local police services between the Monroe County Sheriff's Office and the Monroe County Board of County Commissioners and Islamorada Village of Islands for fiscal year 2025 to 2022, year 2, contract pricing, authorizing the mayor to execute the First Amendment, authorizing the village manager to expend budgeted funds, authorizing village officials to implement the terms and conditions of the First Amendment, and providing for an effective date.
Okay. Do we have any public comment first?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Council?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Marnie?
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Ann Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
10.
10 is a resolution of the Village Council of Isla Mirada Village of Islands, Florida, authorizing the payment of legal expenses related to the representation of certain village officials in their official capacities, providing for authorization and providing for an effective date.
Okay. Ron, do you want to say something?
This is because the state attorney did an investigation, and after a thorough and complete investigation, found absolutely no wrongdoing on behalf of anybody on the council, either current or former members of the council or staff. And so we now, since the matter has been concluded, we are now under our code authorized to reimburse council members and staff for any legal expenses for their fees, and that's what we are recommending that you do tonight.
Is there any public comment before?
No, ma'am.
There better not be. All right, council, Don, did you want to say something? Deb, anybody?
I just think it's a shame that this came to this, and it's a shame that this is on the taxpayers' back, that they're going to have to pay $20,000 for a complaint that was made. Maybe it was made out of demagoguery. Maybe it was made out of innocence. I think it was the first. And I think that it's a shame that this is on the taxpayers' back. Maybe somebody that made the complaint could pay for it. Thanks.
Anna, do you have anything to say? No. Deb? Steve? Okay. I'm good.
I do. I will make the motion, though.
I'm
to
good.
approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Marnie?
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Unfortunately, yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Absolutely.
The motion passes 5-0.
Okay. All right, John, moving on.
Tab 11 is a resolution of the Village Council of Isla Mirada Village of Islands, Florida, approving renewal of property, casualty, and workers' compensation policies and coverage and pollution liability from World Risk Management through Public Risk Management of Florida, effective October 1, 2025, authorizing payment of the associated renewal premiums for fiscal year 2025 to 2026, authorizing village officials to execute required documents, authorizing the village manager to expend budgeted funds, and providing for an effective date.
I believe that's Miss Hattie.
Yep. We've discussed this during the budget cycle. The increase was projected at 6%, and they actually came in at a 1.09% increase. We actually have a insurance consultant, and they recommend to stay with this contract as it's the best option that's out there currently.
Anybody have any questions?
I just want to thank y'all for putting the work in and getting this rate down. So thank y'all very much.
Anna, do you have something?
I will motion to approve.
I can second.
Okay, Marnie?
Okay, we did not have anyone for public comment for this one. So, Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
Hey, John, we're blazing a trail. Let's go.
We are. We're on the last resolution. Tab 12, a resolution of the Village Council of Isla Mirada Village of Islands, Florida, ratifying purchases from KB Vacuum Solutions LLC through the end of fiscal year 2024 to 2025, authorizing the village manager to expend budgeted funds and providing for an effective date.
AJ?
All right, good evening. KB Vacuums is our vacuum pump supplier and repair, and as also our parts and oils. We had a not to exceed for this budget year of $100,000. We had an issue with one pump that needed emergency repair, and that put us over the $100,000. So it was an additional $5,874.50, and the resolution before you is ratifying those expenses.
Okay, anybody have any questions for AJ before We go to public comment, if there's any. Deb, you have something? You have your mic on?
Oh, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
That's okay. Don, no? Anna? Steve? Okay. Then is there any public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I hate wastewater. When are we going to Key Largo? I'm like a parrot on that, aren't I? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Marnie?
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
John?
We are now into the ordinances section. This is tab 13. This is an ordinance on second reading. An ordinance of Isla Mirada Village of Islands, Florida, amending Section 2-118 of the Village Code entitled Scheduling and Conduct of Hearing to require notice of affirmative defenses and code compliance hearings and determination of responsibility for alleged violations, providing for the repeal of all code provisions and ordinances inconsistent with this ordinance, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
Okay.
We discussed this last month. I'm happy to refresh everybody's recollection if you'd like.
Would you?
This was an issue that had come up in a recent code matter that was appealed, and there was not a specific finding as to certain affirmative defenses that were raised. And this is designed to ensure that we have a time frame by which for somebody to raise affirmative defenses and to ensure that the code enforcement officer does in fact address those defenses and deal with them in his order. So it's really just designed to ensure that we have the cleanest and legally sufficient orders that we can.
Okay, Deb, I see you have your mic on?
Well, I was just going to ask how the first reading vote went, since it's not filled in. I assume it was a 5-0 vote, but I don't know that.
That's my recollection, but I can check the minutes actually, since I think they're in our, give me 1 second and I will be able to.
No problem. Besides that, I don't have a question.
Anybody have anything while he's looking? Is there any public comment while he's looking?
No, ma'am.
All right, John, the ball's in your court.
I am, because I'm not seeing it right now. The vote on the prior.
So I'll withdraw if you're having trouble finding it, but it should be filled in, of course.
Yeah, my
before.
recollection was unanimous, sorry.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think I'm in the wrong one. I'm not sure, I'm not finding it in our,
So would that change your vote, Deb?
No,
Okay.
it just needs to be filled in.
Okay, well, while he's looking, do we have a motion then? Can we move forward?
I'll make a motion to approve, but
I'll second.
I'll withdraw my request, but it's just not filled in.
okay. It was from the June meeting, so I'm,
Okay.
the ones in our agenda are
All
from
right,
July.
Marnie, will you want to go ahead and call the roll while John's still looking?
Sure, I can do that, and also I did find the vote is on our public portal on the village agenda, and it was an affirmative 5-0 vote.
Well, she showed you up there, John, didn't you?
I know, that's what she
I should have.
I know where to
asked
look.
her.
I know, I should have.
All right, Marnie, call the roll, please.
Okay, refresh me on the mover and...
Deb and Anna.
Deb and Anna, great. Okay, Councilmember Deb Gillis.
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards.
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton.
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
Okay.
Tab 14, and I guess just a point of privilege, so in the minutes, Marnie doesn't show the sweat rolling down my face when I couldn't find the...
Your heart beating a little faster? Okay. Go ahead.
So before we move on, shouldn't this be filled in on our agendas? Because the next tab is this way too, 14. It's not filled in.
Okay, we'll address it going forward
Okay.
to make sure that it is.
Thank you.
Tab 14 is an ordinance of Isla Mirada Village of Islands, Florida, amending Chapter 62 Utilities, Article 62-3, wastewater utility policy to amend Section 62-39 to add provisions related to wastewater backup policy, providing for repeal, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And while AJ's speaking, I will look for the vote on this.
I have it if you'd like. It was
4-1.
Sure, it was the July 22nd meeting. It was a motion to approve on the first reading. It was a 4-1 vote with Councilmember Gillis dissenting.
Okay, AJ, would you like to?
Sure. Yeah, this is the second reading. This is to formally create a policy outlining our responsibilities, procedures, and the mitigation steps related to sewer backups, and it's to outline that for both the both the owners, the utility owners, us, and the residents or commercial properties. But I'm here for any questions. If
Anybody
you
have questions? Don?
AJ, is this modification that you're asking for and that we've already voted on, is it typical in other cities this way?
Yes, this is, the policy is consistent with the industry standard.
And it's been drafted or used in other city codes before?
Correct.
Okay, so what about like those properties that are on the grinder pump program? I don't think I asked that last time. I meant to and I didn't. If they're on the grinder pump program and they're installed and maintained by the village on private property, they're exempted, right? Because they put in a, there's an easement that runs through their
Correct.
property?
Yeah, correct. We have an easement, and that infrastructure is Isla Mirada's property.
And if you find that the problem is on somebody's private property, but due to something that's happening right at the property line, then we give, the tie goes to the runner, right? We're not going to be charging, unless you find that it's an abuse or that clogged up the pipe because of the owner, when you find whatever the problem is?
Correct, yeah. So the connection point, which is that defining line, is at our sewer cleanout. The same thing on the low pressure side of it. It flows into the grinder pit. There is a sewer cleanout right there at that point, and that's kind of the defining line of, beyond that is the property owners and the gravity side of it, and then from there to either the vacuum pit or the grinder basin is ours.
And it seems like when we talked about this last time, I asked if there was a way that we could notify the public and let them know what are the bad things that they put in their, that they throw into their toilets or whatever that create these problems either on the village's side or on their side. Has anybody worked towards developing some kind of pamphlet or something, a fact sheet that we can send out to the public, just one notification, or post it on the village's website that can help people to understand that there are certain things that they just should not put in the system?
Absolutely. We have that information on our website, that kind of the do's and don'ts. We've done a video before. I think the video is a little older, but we did talk about redoing a newer video of posting that, and then being able to post that on social media, and then be able to put some information in our weekly newsletter as well.
I think the more we talk about it, the more it's going to help our system and help the public. So thank you.
No problem.
Go ahead. I thought of a question. I promise not to. When you and I talked at my review, we talked about backflow preventers.
Correct.
Is there a standard for how often they should be checked or replaced? Because they are they're a hard plastic, right?
Correct.
If I remember right. I don't dig in that hole very often.
No.
No. So is there some kind of standard that should be, the public should be made aware of, that they need to double check that because that will protect their homes, or hopefully?
Correct. I'm not sure of any industry standard as far as how often. I'd have to check maybe with Sheila. She might know that. That's on the private side of it. And it's Florida Building Code with the backflow preventer, so
It's
I'd have
what?
to.
What was the
it's
last
part-
statement?
It's part of the code that they're required to have those backflow preventers.
I didn't say anything about not being required to
No,
have them. I'm talking about maintaining them.
I'm not sure
And
on the
helping the
maintenance
general
requirement.
public understand how often they should maintain them, even if it's on their own property. It
I-
kind of goes along with what Don was saying about, and I know we've put that out in the past, but he's right. We need to talk about it.
I can look
frequent.
into that and then add that as part of that
Add that
information.
as
yeah,
part of the.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good idea.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I move to approve.
And do I have a second?
Public comment.
Oh.
Oh, yes,
Oh.
okay. Sorry.
Nice try.
It's good.
Go ahead, Marty.
Public comment, we have Sue Miller, followed by Joe Wishmeyer.
Excuse me? Steve? Did you want to say something first?
Yeah, she can go ahead first.
Oh, okay.
Sue Miller, Lower Matacumbe. I'm really confused at what it is you're approving. The last time you were approving that if it's on the property owner's side, that the property owner is responsible, and if it's on the village side, the village is responsible. Has that been changed to, so in other words, my grinder pump backed up this past week, and it was the grinder pump's problem. There was no red light, there was no siren, there's no SCADA system. And so when a backup occurs, I'm responsible because the backup is on my side of the grinder pump, but it was caused by the grinder pump. That doesn't make any sense to me. And the same is true if somebody at my house flushes a dirty diaper down the toilet and it does damage to the grinder pump. I should be responsible, not the village. And so I think that there needs to be some responsibility for the person, for the entity that created the problem, not just a simple, if it's here, it's one thing, if it's there, it's another thing. I think it should be the responsibility of the person that created the problem, and I read this over and over again. I can't tell what you're doing. Thank you.
AJ, is there a way we can do on a case-to-case basis? Because I agree with Sue that, go ahead.
If there's three people hook up to one system, then how are you going to prove who flushed the diaper, right? It's on the village's
Who has the
grinder
baby?
pump. Right. Who has the baby? But who was visiting with the baby?
Okay. All right, well, I guess then, go ahead, Deb. Do you
But
wanna
I
say
also
something?
had a question. Is there, because I don't remember, Sue may know, but on a grinder pump, is there a backflow preventer on the house side of the
On every home,
grinder?
yes. Every home is required to have a backflow preventer. It's within a few feet of when it exits the building. So if you have multiple
okay.
pipes,
All right.
additions, things
So-
like that, you can have multiple backflow preventers.
So even though in Sue's case in particular, just because she brought it up, sorry, Sue, if the alarm didn't go off and the light didn't go off and the SCADA system isn't there and the backflow preventer should have prevented it to go into the house, correct?
Correct.
And I'm on her page too, is because that was my argument last time.
So the backflow preventer will prevent anything from going upstream into the house, but it's connected to the grinder basin, so nothing is going upstream, only things are coming downstream. So if you continue to keep on a grinder pump in that system, because there's only one person connected to it, on a vacuum pit, if you have up to 4 homes connected to it, if your neighbor is the higher property and they keep flushing and flushing and you happen to be the low property, your backflow preventer will prevent that from coming into your home.
Does that answer everything? Are you good?
No, but I'm not getting a better answer, so I've tried twice now, 3 times now, so.
Okay, Joe, I believe it's your turn unless somebody else has something for AJ. Steve,
Oh,
did you want to say something first? Okay.
Yes, Joe Wishmeyer, Plantation Key. I guess the confusion comes in because where I live, we were the first community to get this. And I remember, I believe her name was Chris Harris. Her house was so severely damaged that it had to be demolished. What you're trying to pass now, the ordinance states that the Village of Islamorada shall not be liable for any damages caused by a wastewater backup occurring on private property. It's the owner's responsibility to repair and clean up. The owner should be responsible for anything. I don't know how in good conscience you can do that, because that insinuates if there's a problem and it's not caused by the personal private property, it's caused by the village, now you're saying, too bad. It also says in there, oh, maybe we should go out and spend more money, get extra insurance that would cover this. That's not our responsibility. I believe that if there's a situation and it's caused by something that the village is responsible for, that the village should be responsible for the damages. So, like I say, how in good conscience you can say, no, we're not doing this. And it sounds to me like you're trying to put all your eggs in one basket, this little tiny backflow valve, which nobody ever checks. We don't know exactly how to do that, but we know they have failed in the past too, but those two were also installed by the village. So I would hope that you would reword this to make it so that, no, the owners of the property are responsible no matter what. I don't think that's fair. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
I'm sorry, we do have a hand up on Zoom as well. It's Alina Davis, and give me just 1 sec to get her set up here. Okay, Alina, go ahead. You've got 3 minutes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. So I know of 2 instances that this happened on private property. Neither one of them have the grinder pump system, and both of them, one in Venetian Shores and one on Plantation Boulevard, were both told by the village, it's your fault, but yet it was the problem at the monument or whatever, the gravestone, whatever you want to call that thing that's out on the street that caused it. It was a malfunction of that system. And both of those, the village has thrown up their hands and said, no, you know, we know it's a problem, we know what happened, but it's not our fault, and it's all on you. And that is just not right. If the system is faulty, the village needs to accept responsibility for it. Just as if I have a leak in my roof, that's my responsibility. Something happened. But if something happens to the village sewer system that causes that to come into my house, okay, maybe my backflow valve didn't work, but if the village sewer system, had been operating properly, it would not have backed up into my house. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have one more comment,
Okay.
if I may.
Anybody else, Marnie?
You want to
done?
go first, or do you want me to? Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Really done this time.
Go ahead, let Steve go first, just because he's tried 3 times.
Well, I just, I worked with John a little bit on some of this language regarding some of the concerns I think that we heard from the public, and just adding a little bit of language that hopefully might clear it up a little bit. And so, I don't know, John, if you want to go ahead and proffer what we talked about.
Yeah, sure. The language, and I've got a copy that I can pass out so you guys can see it as well. It's in section 2 of, I guess it's subsection C2, where it's the first section talks about the owners and customers shall be responsible for repairs. It's adding, it says repairs, shall be responsible for repairs, corrective action, cleanup, and damages resulting from a wastewater backups occurring on private property. And then this is the new language for which the proposed new language, for which the owners or customers' acts or omissions are approximate cause of the backup, comma, and then you continue on with that sentence. Then there's 2 additional proposed additions, or 2 more proposed additions. You go 2 sentences below. It says the Village of Islamorada shall not be responsible for any damages caused by a wastewater backup occurring on private property. And then the new proposed language is resulting from an act or omission by the owner or customer, and then continuing on. And then the third and final proposed addition is on the next page. It's in subsection 2, and it's the very last sentence where it says the village shall confirm the location of the wastewater backup, whether on private property or on the village's wastewater system. And then the proposed addition is, and inform the owner/customer of the village's determination.
Does that answer your question, Deb, or do you have something else?
It does answer my question, but I still would like to say, because AJ has said, you know, if you continue to flush and flush and flush, then you're going to cause a backup. But if you don't know what's going on out there, how are you going to know to not flush? So I like your
good job, Steve.
It's
Yeah, I can't take credit for it, Steve. So.
Yeah, it's good. I agree with Steve and Deb, because it's, to me, I don't think it should just be the resident's fault. That's crazy to me.
Right.
Yeah. So where do we go from here, John? Do we redo this or approve it as this says, or does anybody have anything else to say?
If you all are comfortable with the language, or if somebody wants to make a motion, it would be a motion to amend, to approve as amended, as read by the village attorney.
Okay. First, did you want to say something before?
Well, I think I had a motion. I'm going to withdraw the motion so we can fix this. Thank you.
Okay. Anna, do you have anything? I like that. I remember, yeah. So,
Steve, are you, because we haven't had time to really study it, are you comfortable with, you've heard the conversation of what we're trying to get to, is it may not be the customer's fault. From what I heard without studying this, it sounds right.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with the language that you guys work on?
Yes, I would make the motion as stated by read by the village attorney.
Joe, did you want to
Could
say
I just
something?
ask one question? If we, luckily I haven't had to deal with this, so I don't know what the answer is. If there is a backup and I have to call a plumber out and they determine that it's the village's side and that's causing the problem, do I still have to pay for that, or can I get reimbursed by the village for that unnecessary plumber's call?
Now you're adding another layer to this.
I think
let's
the
add that
original
in there.
answer was that you should always call the village first.
Correct, yeah.
Right?
I was going to say, I can answer that. We put it out beyond belief. Call Islamorada first. We will come out. We are your utility service. We come at no additional charge. We will come out, and if whatever it is, if it's a backup on your side, we'll let you know. Yeah, go ahead and call a
Okay.
plumber out.
And
But-
we are maintaining the phone numbers on the towers so that people have easy
Absolutely.
access, right?
Yes, yes, our emergency number is everywhere.
And they do answer the phone.
Yes, and it's,
No, I'm agreeing.
there's redundancy. If it doesn't go to the first person, there's a call list, so it'll go down the line.
John?
Yeah, I was just going to remind that there's a motion on the table. It doesn't have a second, but
He
at least I didn't
withdrew
hear.
it. He
No,
with- Oh.
Councilmember Friedman made a motion.
I will second his motion.
Marnie?
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
Okay. 15, John?
15 is, these are ordinances on first reading. It's an ordinance of Islamorada Village of Islands, Florida, amending Chapter 66, Waterways, Article 1 in general, Section 66-2, Operation of Vessels in Restricted Areas, of the Village Code to create a slow-speed minimum wake zone generally located northwest of Lignum Vitae Channel Bridge off Lower Matacumbe Key in the area generally known as Stark's Wheel Ditch, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Peter, I like this one.
Okay, well, good evening, council. So, as you are, I'm sure, well aware, there are some significant safety concerns within the Stark's Wheel Ditch due to it being an extremely narrow channel, boats traveling at an excessively high rate of speed. It's essentially a mangrove tunnel with a blind turn in the middle. There has been numerous boating accidents within it, including a fatality. The council did give direction to the staff to draft an ordinance that you have before you this evening. It does have support, as you heard from Diane, of the Nearshore Water Citizens Advisory Committee as well. We do have the authority to establish such a regulatory zone and enforce it. We also has the support of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, as well as the DEP, the Park Service, the Florida Park Service, who manages the adjacent Lignum Vitae Key Aquatic Preserve. So we did speak with Lou Dodson, who manages that, and she is also in support of it. As you heard from Diane, the next steps, if this is passed this evening, the first reading, we will begin immediately on the permitting, which is necessary for the 4 buoys that would denote the beginning and the end of the zone. So we're proposing a pair of buoys on each end of the channel. So time-wise, Diane was spot on. Unfortunately, that would take a while. It would be, I'd say, a minimum of 6 months, maximum of a year, just because it will require Army Corps permitting. So probably somewhere in the middle there. And staff is recommending adoption of this ordinance on first reading. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
No, I think it's great. So anybody have any questions for Peter?
Peter, I had a couple of people call me and say that, you know, that's their route back and forth, and they use that a lot. And would it be better to make it for just to limit the size of the boat rather than the speed? Because some of these boats that are going through there are the 2 and 3 and 4 engine boats that are big, and those are the ones that have created the accidents in the past. And I don't know the history other than the last one. Well, there's been a couple in there, and it seems like it was always a larger boat that was involved. Is it better to do to just limit the size or the speed in there?
Well, it's my understanding from previous experience, based on statutes, that it is not possible to regulate by vessel size.
Really?
And we
Okay.
learned that through Everglades National Park zoning, National Marine Sanctuary zoning. There's just no ability to do that. So I don't think that's possible.
So this is the best, by far the best alternative.
Yes.
It certainly saved lives.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anna,
That's all.
did you have
Sure.
something? I know you were one of the
For
people.
firsthand experience on this one, we were just one of the ones that were just waked and pushed up into the mangroves by another boat in that wheel ditch. Yeah, from a
No,
big
I
boat.
think it's
So
great.
I'm 100% for it.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I think unfortunately over the years, that ditch has actually widened considerably, which has allowed larger vessels, and because of that, that's why it's called the wheel ditch. The props have actually dug out and made it deeper, so it's more attractive to bigger boats to go through there, which is obviously very dangerous. And knowing that we have full support from our Nearshore Water Committee and our staff, I'm behind it.
All right, do I have a motion then?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Marnie?
Okay, Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Yes.
And who was our second?
I don't know, do we need a comment on that?
Oh,
Councilmember Anna Richards.
Yes.
wait, I didn't ask for public comment.
That's what I was going to ask.
I'm going to get time out.
We did not have anyone.
Oh,
for
see, I
public
knew
comment.
that. Keep going.
Okay, so I did Steve and Anna. Councilmember Deb Gillis.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton.
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
Okay, John, 16.
16 is an ordinance of Islamorada Village of Islands, Florida, creating Chapter 66 Waterways, Article 1 in general, Section 66-4, restricted activities in public and private marinas of the Village Code to create a human-powered vessel and non-vessel activity exclusion zone in public and private marinas, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Okay. Is there any public comment?
There is not.
Okay, council, any? Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I spoke to John about this as well. In reading this, it seems really broad. We've been approached by maybe a couple of marinas that I know of asking for this. The definitions don't seem really tight enough. You know, for example, Safe Harbor Angler House. That's a private marina, considered private marina. They do paddleboarding and kayaking out of there. So this would not allow that, should it pass. So I think that we need to kind of tighten this up and maybe even, I think, defer this to another time where we can kind of look at it and see, to maybe instruct the village manager to speak to some of the other marinas to see really if we have consensus among them for something like this.
Anybody else? Don, you have your mic on? No? No, you don't. Anna? Deb?
No, whatever, because this is kind of a new concept, if there's things that is been overlooked, I agree that we should reach out and make sure that we've got it right. I think it's important that we try to do something along these lines. We have people that we're gonna end up killing somebody one of these days, and so we need to get this in place. But yeah, maybe we need to do some kind of reach out to more marinas. Maybe that's the answer, to make sure that we haven't excluded something that they need.
So can we turn it back to the staff to maybe find out what the average, because I agree with him about the paddle boards, and I agree with you that, you know, different marinas have different situations, you know? So
Yeah, I mean, we can take this off the table today, if the council's okay with that, and, you know, continue the discussion with the marinas, including with additional marinas, and make sure we have input from everyone, and then once we do, we can bring it back, or potentially bring it back, I should say.
Okay, so do we need a formal vote to pull it, or just everybody good with taking it off? Don, you okay with it? Okay, so let's go to 17.
17 is an ordinance of Islamorada Village of Islands, Florida, amending Chapter 4 Animals, Article 1 in general of the Village Code to create a Section 4-101, taking and feeding peafowl prohibited, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Any public comment, Marnie?
No, ma'am.
Okay, council, anything?
I do.
Go ahead.
So I got really confused over this one, because Section 4-101 says it shall be unlawful for any person to take a peafowl. But then under C2, it says nothing in this section shall prevent a property owner from taking a peafowl. So, I mean,
Well, it's not taking a peafowl, it's just getting it away from off of your property. So like occasionally I'll have a peacock come on my property because we have cats and there'll be some food out there and they come out there, and peacocks don't like water. So I'll go out there and I'll spray it with the hose and it gets off my property. It doesn't harm the peacock, at least I don't think it does.
So nobody's going to be mad when my dog starts chasing them off my property.
Well, it says without harming them, so.
She doesn't harm them, but she scares the hell out of them.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's what it was
Okay.
designed, that we don't want,
Okay.
when I wrote it, I was trying to create a scenario where you're not forced, if you've got 3 peacocks on your roof, to just sit there and listen to them at, 2 o'clock in the morning, and there's nothing you can do. It's, listen, if there aren't, you can get them off your property, but in a humane way.
So removing them and taking them is different?
Is different,
Yes.
yes, yeah.
Okay, then I'm
This is just,
okay.
they're
want the
they're on your
violence.
property, you shoo them away, or, like
We
I
don't
said,
want
I
people
get the
killing
hose and.
Okay, all right, cool. All right.
Maybe we should insert a word or a phrase without harming, without.
It does say in there that in a manner that does not physically
It does,
injure
it does,
the
I'm
feed
sorry.
valve. Yeah.
I'm
Just
sorry.
don't use the eggs to play fetch with the dogs.
Yes, right.
The eggs are delicious.
And just, and don't use them for breakfast.
They're full of protein.
Yeah, they are. Whale and peacock eggs. Just so everybody knows, I had a conversation with Marcia. She will, if someone does feed the peacock, she will, code enforcement for Monroe County, which is us, she will first start with a fine, and then it gets worse where she will be tarred and feathered with peacock feathers.
So you don't warn them first? It's not
Yes, there's a warning
So a
first.
warning
Yep.
first, then a fine.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And she will handle it just like she does other, like the chickens and stuff here. So she's on board with us, just so everybody knows.
And also, the county's aware of this too. With the,
Yep.
I've spoken with the county attorney's office. They're aware of this issue within the village too.
Okay. Any public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Oh, we'll move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Barney, would you call the roll?
Vice Mayor Don Horton.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Anna Richards.
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis.
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Yay for the peacocks, yes.
Motion passes
Yes.
5-0.
Okay.
All right. Last but not least, we are on tab 18, an ordinance of Isla Mirada Village of Islands, Florida, amending Chapter 50, Article 3 of the Village Code, titled Traffic and Vehicle Speed Zone, Section 50-53, Speed Zones Established, to create a maximum speed zone of 20 miles per hour for vehicles operating on Cortez Drive, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. As you see, this adds Cortez Drive to the list of various roads within the village that has a maximum speed limit of 20 miles per hour.
Barney, is there any public comment?
There is not.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions? Deb?
I just have one comment. Under budget impact, there is signage going on the road, right? Yes, sir?
Yes, there would be a change.
Oh, here comes AJ.
I don't either. That's the reason I'm asking.
No worries. Actually, there'll be a reduction in signage because I will not have to have multiple signs for each one. We have a sign that'll go at the entrance to the neighborhood that says 20 miles per hour for the neighborhood, so it'll actually be a reduction in signage. It's a process.
Because that road is currently posted at 25?
It would be 20 and 25, so that 25 miles per hour sign would come out. The other,
Okay,
the other one farther down would come out as well.
Okay, all right. So I guess that explains why there's no impact, except you got to take a sign down.
Anyone else have anything, Steve?
Yeah, I think this is great. Residents have reached out to me about this, and I think that this somehow got overlooked, and I think we're just correcting it and in the idea of public safety.
Okay. Anybody else? Do I have a motion then?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Marnie?
Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis.
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Don Horton.
Yes.
And Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, before we go, John, I have a question for you. Tab 10, which was the witch hunt on this village council. Can we find out who I need to take off my Christmas card list who did this?
Oh.
Filed the complaint?
Yeah, you're asking if I will do the,
Can we
we
find-
can do a public records
Yeah.
request? Yeah.
I think we all need to know. I think that maybe $20,000 to the taxpayers for something that didn't bring anything. This maybe might be, a wake-up call that before, you better have your facts straight before you go attacking people who give their time and energy to this. So I'd like to know who did it, and it seems to be not available for us to know. So I'm asking you if you can find it for us.
Yeah, if there's a consensus on council, I can do a public records request to the state attorney's office for the complaint.
Okay, so how does the rest of the council feel? Deb, do you want to do it?
I don't care one way or the other.
Okay. Don?
Up to no.
Okay. I say yes.
Sure. I think it's right for the taxpayers to know whose money's
Steve?
being spent.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Okay, we're done. Thank you.